Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Friday. I'm freaking out for a couple reasons. I'm freaking out because I see a Raptors legend bombing half-court shots like it's nothing in Michigan State yesterday, which I love, man. Morris Peterson. Mo Pete has been retired since 2011, y'all. He's 47 years old. He hasn't played in 14 years. And, different players, when they retire, go into different modes. Some of them don't keep up with themselves health wise, Charles Barkley, and they kind of just let themselves go. But 14 years after retirement for Morris Peterson, he's still got it, apparently. Of course, the magical half court crazy shot that Morris hit against the Washington Wizards in Raptors history is a legendary moment. And well, he's still very capable. I think the coolest thing about that clip that has gone viral last night is that he makes multiple shots in a row. In fact, he makes 4 half-court shots in a row like it's nothing. It's insane, man. It's so cool. In some ways, it's like, man, Morris, you're awesome, bro. Like, it's so awesome. So, yeah, we're saluting Morris Peterson. I'm freaking out because 47-year-old Morris Peterson is bombing half-court shots from the logo on the Spartan head at Michigan State. Amazing stuff. It's so beautiful. If y'all haven't seen the clip, you need to go watch it. It's hilarious. I know it's not that extra special. There's a lot of NBA players that probably could do this, but it's just kind of fun to see, especially because when you think about it, Morris has not played in the league since 2011, y'all. That's a long time since. So, he could have fallen off in all kinds of different ways since then. His waistline could have expanded, but he stayed in really good shape. And to the point where he still got it. He still got it. As Mo said, he still got it right here. That's right. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. We got some other news and things to go over. Of course, there's another finals game tonight. And there's a Siakam interview with Malika Andrews we should talk about and things like that. So let's get into it, Raptor Freaks. Let's go. Classic card, Instagram stories. Let's go. Trevor's words of wisdom. We are in a world where everyone is an expert at pointing out others' flaws. Admire the self-aware people who can spot what they need to work on. Yeah, some people don't need to be, it's none of their business. But, if you're somebody who's trusted and considerate of people that you care about and you're coming at them in the right way and you have the best intentions, sometimes it's good to point out things for people to try and help them. But some people are just blind to it and they aren't self-aware and that they may need the help. But also at the same time, they may not be ready for you to do that. And you may really screw things up by trying to point something out. I would say this, use your best judgment. If you're going to talk to somebody about flaws that they have, make sure that it's necessary because maybe it isn't. And maybe you should just let it go and just let people be who they are because in some ways that's part of it also. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. Always welcome from our Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. Monique is here. The superfan Mo is saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. That's what Mo P does. Half-court shot specialist and get buckets. My guy, I love to see it. Yeah, I love to see it too. I was having a hard time figuring out what the stream would be on today. Seriously, in some ways, this is scraping the bottom of the barrel because this is not a current Raptor. This is not totally. I mean, I could have done an anniversary thing for the Raptors championship today, which was 6 years ago today, guys. We won the championship in Golden State. I could have done this. I could have done that. But I don't know. I was just inspired by the clip by Morris to kind of honor Morris once again. 30th anniversary season. He came through and was at the We the World Gala. Mo saw him again. And I figured why not put Morris on blast? Morris has always been one of my favorite Raptors too, just like Monique. And I think that in some ways, we always got to bring back those old names every once in a while. Like she wanted James Johnson last week. And, we're going to talk about DeMar DeRozan on this channel. It's just that, good standing, the Raptors culture, Morris Peterson, he's a part of that history. And he's a part of the culture. He is one of the most loyal early Raptors, like in the beginning. Him and Alvin were probably the 2 early, really loyal Raptor guys for our franchise. And so, I don't mind putting Morris Peterson on blast all of a sudden like this. especially for something cool like this. Mo, it's always good to see you in the morning. I hope you're having a great, fantastic Friday so far this morning. Trevor's saying Golden State Valkyries reportedly made $55 million without a media deal in the first time franchise. Well, it's excitement. It's new. And then this is something that the Tempo are going to have to jump on next year when they start is enthusiasm, is the newness, is the curiosity, the people getting behind. Like, I want to be one of the first fans ever to come in and say, I was there from day one. I was there in the first year of the Toronto Tempo. I was there in the first year of the Valkyries. So the San Francisco market in some ways has similarities to Toronto, a little bit more progressive cities, more likely to be sanctuary cities, let's just say. And, I like that cities come out in full effect for that franchise. And we need to do the same thing up here when they start playing next year at Coca-Cola Coliseum. So, yeah, we need to come out in full effect. The Valkyries have set a high bar this season as an expansion team in the WNBA. Well, let's knock their socks off next year, Toronto, and show just how much Toronto Tempo are loved and already without even having players right now. So, yeah, we have a bar set in front of us by Golden State and their WNBA team. We need to exceed it. That's what I'm saying, Tempo fans. We need to come out in full effect and show numbers that rival or even surpass the Golden State Valkyries. That's what I'm saying. We can compete on the court. We can compete for WNBA championships, but let's compete and support and get out there and make the attendance numbers high, make the revenue high, and make this team extremely successful. So it is one of the most important teams in the WNBA. That's what we want for Toronto Tempo. That's right. Smooth's here. Good to see Reggie, our trivia leader. You saying Edmonton won 5-4 in overtime, series tied 2-2. This is fantastic. I saw the score after the first. It was 3-0 for Florida. And I was like, yee, this ain't no good. We don't know this Marchand bullshit. We don't want to repeat of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. And, well, this finals is going crazy. It was 7 games last year, and the wrong team won. Well, thank God Edmonton pulled it out and won in overtime again last night. Now, I will say it's a little disconcerting that the Oilers' 2 wins in the Stanley Cup Finals have come from behind in overtime. So, yeah, man, McDavid and crew, do it, bro. Come on out. Do it for the country. You guys got 2 more to go, and they got 2 more to go. Who's going to get to 2 more first? Beat the Panthers, Oilers. Beat the Panthers. So happy to see the score later that they did come back and beat them. Yeah, very, very good. Very, very good stuff. Trevor J saying Oklahoma City versus Indiana will be very interesting tonight. Game 4, Indiana Pacers hosting Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the refs right now. We've got a suspicious ref crew for tonight, we'll say. The crew chief will be the notorious Scott Foster. Scott Foster actually heavily favors the Pacers, guys. His historic numbers show a much higher winning percentage for Indiana over Oklahoma City. Josh Tiven will be the referee, the worst ref for the Raptors this past year. Josh Tiven will be the second ref. He is very close. Both teams have similar records on him, but Thunder are slightly better than the Pacers. So he slightly, just ever so slightly favors the Thunder over the Pacers, but their records are very similar. And then Sean Wright is the umpire once again, and Sean Wright heavily favors the Thunder. So it's a very balanced ref crew. They did a good job of putting 3 refs out there that have different variants with their records with the 2 teams. So Scott Foster, heavy for the Pacers. Josh Tiven, just slightly for the Thunder, right in the middle. And Sean Wright, heavy for the Thunder. The alternate will be Courtney Kirkland, and the replay center will feature Jimmy Capers. Jimmy Capers. We do it running his bootlegging outfit out of the Secaucus watching room. You want the moonshine? Yeah, Jimmy Capers. Give it to me through the hole in the wall. Jimmy Capers. All right, let's keep going. So we're saying, yeah, the Oilers were down 3-0 and came back for the win. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm not watching those games. In some ways, just like soccer, I hate to say it as a basketball fan, I can just box score watch those 2 sports, hockey and soccer, because they're goals. And it's like, I can sit there and watch them go around in circles on skates and run up and down the field in soccer. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a hater. Maybe I'm ADHD kind of guy. I need attention deficit. I need more scores. But it really is like hockey is a great sport to just watch the scoreboard to keep up on. It's like, why do I even need to watch it? I'll just go and check on the score every once in a while. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be so anti-hockey. People might get mad at me, come after me. I'm not anti-hockey. It's just I have a hard time watching the whole game. The nuances of skating and formations and doing stuff, to me, it's all chaos. I don't see the order in hockey half the time. I just see if you skate faster or you do certain things faster. But this is just this guy who doesn't know anything about hockey right here. Maybe if I was raised on it, maybe if I understood the pillars and the fundamentals like I do the sport of basketball, maybe I would understand hockey and get more enjoyment out of watching it. But I don't understand what the hell they're doing. They might as well be down at City Hall with little girls skating around on ice skates at Christmas, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know what they're doing. As far as I'm saying, well, I would just say, hockey guys, why don't you just skate faster? Then you'll win. That may be one of the funniest moments in Raptor Freak stream history right there. If some of y'all are laughing because I just said that, why don't y'all just skate faster? You'll win. I got the simple solution for why you ain't winning at hockey. Just skate faster. Anyway, I'm going to stop right here. It's hilarious. Seymour is here. Good to see the sheriff, Seymour Pape. He didn't watch either. If it ain't the Leafs or the Flames, count me out. Go Canada, go. See, all right, he's coming around, even though he has been salty this week. He was very much showing his Calgary allegiances by saying, man, Oilers, nah, Flames burn oil, is what he said earlier this week. And I get that. The Alberta rivalry, it must be kind of weird for Calgary fans to kind of like, do we want to root for the Oilers? I mean, do we really? I mean, they are Canada, though. And we gotta want to get the cup back here. They have so many damn Stanley Cups from before already. Why the hell do we want them to win another one? I mean, I can hear all the arguments from Flames fans on this. They're very torn on this, man. It just seems to be a kind of a weird thing in Calgary in general, in Alberta, that there's a lot of division and like confusion there, whether it's in the government or for the hockey rooting for this team. But yeah, Seymour, it's all right if you're a little salty. I understand. You live in Calgary, and it's kind of weird to root for Edmonton. I get it. Trevor J is bringing us some good news this morning. I like to hear this. He's saying that Shaquille O'Neal is building a $24 million youth development complex in Las Vegas. Yeah, this is one thing about NBA players and athletes in a lot of sports that doesn't get covered enough is the philanthropy and all the good that they do. There's a lot of stories like this all over the place. Slim Duck Foundation, PS43 Foundation, Magic Johnson theaters, and all kinds of stuff. The history of NBA players giving back to the community is very, very rich and a lot. And well, this is another one. Shaq, I don't know Shaq's connection to Las Vegas and why he would like to help that particular city with a complex like this. This is a huge investment, $24 million. But I commend him either way. And we know Shaq is a very philanthropic person. We've heard the stories that he, much like Trevor J, will cover people's grocery bills at the grocery store. If he sees them in line, he feels like it, he'll say, hey, I got you. Shaq's got you. And then boom, he's good. You're good. Oh, hey, Shaq just bought my groceries, y'all. Shaq is the best. Oh, Trevor J bought my groceries too. Wow. Trevor J's like that too. That's what I'm saying. There you go. Let's keep going. Seymour Pape is bringing up an ugly incident this week. And well, we saw Meta World Peace at the Pacers game the other night. And well, this smacks of what this story is. Yeah, we need to talk about behavior today is what Seymour's saying. What DeMarcus Cousins did is totally uncalled for. Now, this is the sheriff. This is a man who knows right and wrong and holds it down for the RFF and the Mountain Standard Time. And, well, he's an authority on the behavior of this because he's a sheriff. That's right. And, well, this is the thing I would say. Puerto Rico is a very interesting place. Puerto Rico is kind of United States, but it isn't. It's also kind of been like not really treated well in the past by Donald Trump during a hurricane. There's a history of sports in Puerto Rico, and the history that I know about is wrestling. And I know that the Puerto Rican crowds on that island can be very wild. They can be very expressive. They can be violent. Let's just be honest. I mean, I used to hear all the crazy stories back in the day about wrestlers going there and, worried about getting stabbed. And Bruiser Brody did get stabbed and died in the locker room in Puerto Rico. So, the fans are very outspoken, and they get emotional. DeMarcus Cousins is an idiot. He always has been an idiot. He's always been an egotistical big dummy. And he's said dumb things during his career. He's acted like an arrogant ass many, many times. I was so happy that we beat their ass in the finals in 2019 on this day 6 years ago, because he was the acquisition that Golden State got in the offseason before to add to Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and all them. And I was like, well, great. Now they got Cousins too. Well, he turned out to be a big fat fail that season. Hurt too much, didn't hardly contribute nothing. And maybe in a couple ways got in the way of them actually winning that year instead of us. So listen, that man, he was a big, tall center who could play basketball, but not really team basketball. Selfish player, selfish person, acting like an ass. Listen, I will say that, he had to be in a bad mood already to do what he did in Puerto Rico this week. That, the fans shouldn't be able to key you off like that. You should be like, you know what? I've got millions of dollars. I have all kinds of things in this world that you will never have. And I just need to be like, you know what? I don't care what you think. And that's what a lot of the NBA players do at arenas when they get talked to in the wrong ways by fans. They're just bigger than it. It's like, ha ha ha. I'll laugh at you as I go home in my Ferrari and I go back to my amazing house. It's like, DeMarcus, why? You must be really hurting or something, man. First of all, I know you're playing in Puerto Rico. You don't want to be there. If you had your way, you'd still be in the NBA right now, I'm sure. And that may be part of it. I don't know. Sometimes these former NBA players go to other places and they disrespect things. Like I think there's been some incidents in China with former NBA players having problems with people and being disrespectful. Well, yeah, this was an ugly incident. And I'm just happy that the people that were there were able to hold him back from hurting someone, because he's a 7-foot big man and he could really somebody up if he gets a haymaker or something on somebody. So him getting held back is probably for his own good too. Not to mention all the people that are around him. And yeah, don't get it twisted, fans in Puerto Rico. He will kick your ass. And y'all are crazy doing that. If you would you get in a lion cage with a lion and antagonize the lion? No. So why would you do that to DeMarcus Cousins like that? I get it. You're right in his face. You're going to give him a 1-finger salute. You're going to throw beer on him. Y'all need to watch out. I'm not saying, I know DeMarcus was wrong in the way, and the reason why he's wrong is because he reacted. In some ways, he got too engaged with all that. And you can't do that. You got to ignore these people. If you really have a problem with somebody antagonizing you at an NBA game or at any game, professional basketball players, you get the referee, you get the people that are in charge for the building, the security, and you get these people exited out. And it could very well be the guy he got into it with at the front row could have been thrown out. Instead, he got in his face and it almost became a physical altercation. Thank God his teammates were there to hold him back, because it could have been really ugly, man. Really, really ugly. That is not an even match. DeMarcus Cousins might mop the floor with that guy. Seriously, mop the floor with him. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I mean, in some ways, y'all can't be treating basketball players like you can just throw beer on them. That is dehumanizing and not right also. And I can understand where, that's a trigger for Ron Artest to go up in the stands and punch somebody. In some ways, I mean, I don't know. I try to look at this two sides. I don't like DeMarcus, so it's real easy for me to dump on him. But I can also see where, like, look, the problem with him was he lost his temper. He should have just kept his cool and been above it. That's where he really messed up there. Because the fans are going to do what they're going to do. That's right. Seymour's saying at Trevor, I stay safe down there in Florida. Heard sheriffs say if you protest, you will be unalived. Crazy times we're witnessing. Yeah. Be safe, everybody down there. Listen, they're scared. They're scared. That's why they go in full effect like this. These big bullies, this MAGA Nazi cult that's going on right now, they're going to be done at some point. They have a lifespan, and it's going to be done at some point. And the people will persist. The people will be here after them. It's just we don't want to lose too many of us while we go through this. So be smart. The very important thing to do right now, and I've heard that this is a couple of things that they're recommending for people. Make sure you carry American flags when you're protesting in the United States. to show that you are the true side of patriotism and America and what it stands for. Make sure that you peacefully protest. Do not antagonize them. They will be filmed and they will be shown to be the instigators of violence and the ones that are causing the problems. And their just desserts will come to them eventually. Trust me. It's just that you you can't be the part that is trying to incite it as far as reckless rioting or damaging a property or even instigating. Just, you know what they say, chant, have signs, let your signs say what you want to say. If you don't want to say anything, don't say anything. You have the right to be in public ground in a free country, United States. And they may not be trying to let you have that right now. They may bully and intimidate, but your rights are there. And some of the judges that are still believe in the Constitution are ruling against Trump and this. In fact, the judge in California has ruled that the National Guard should not be in LA right now. And they're blocking them from being deployed, even though they're saying the president has overstepped his bounds like a king and that he is the wrong, not the people. He is in the wrong for deploying those troops. So yeah, this is an ugly time in American history. It's going to be looked down on and forever after this. And a lot of these people are going to be going into a category like Hitler and the Nazis eventually. But right now is the dark time in the middle of the thick of it. And I give this advice to all my friends down in the United States and maybe getting in the streets. Be smart, be prepared, and don't give them a reason. You just do what you do. Just you being there is enough. You don't have to do much more. So be smart. They'll make asses of themselves and look bad on their own. And the repercussions will come. They can't say in the long run, oh, it's just following orders. Well, the orders are unjust, unconstitutional, and un-American. And that is not an excuse when you get put on trial down the road, ICE people. You will get found guilty and you will find a big problem. This is not going to go over because this is not the popular part of the United States. People are not behind MAGA. People are more and more against MAGA, and that includes people that were formerly MAGA. So you better get it right, police officers, reservists, military. You better get it right on the right side and understand your resistance within will be looked favorably on in the future. If you can go along and bootlick with them and go ahead and just follow orders, well, your orders are unjust, and that is not going to be an excuse for you to be not guilty when your trial comes down the road. That's just how it is right there. I just laid it all out. And if you think I'm crazy and that's never going to happen, that's what's going to happen, y'all. That's what's going to happen. Trump will be fined, and he will find criminal charges, and he will find that he's going to be a disgrace in the end. Very, very much so. Very, very much so. Yeah. Be safe, everybody down south that's getting in the streets. This is what's happening in LA is going to spread out all over the whole country. And everybody needs to be ready. There's going to be some idiots that are all about violence. They're going to be doing some very ugly, bad things. We do not want to meet that side with that. But you know what? I don't know. There's different things going on. You do what you think is best in that moment. Let's just say. Yeah. Seymour saying, who would you take in their prime? Morris Peterson or Norman Powell? Well, this is the thing. Norman's in his prime right now, which is kind of cool. Norman's a better player than Morris in a lot of ways. I really do believe that. It's weird because I don't want to denigrate Morris, but Norman got to different levels of the playoffs further than Morris did. And in some ways, Powell has Powell. He's got playoff tested. And in some ways, if you're going to really rank the two of them against each other, you have to take into account Powell's, resume. Now, I think that Powell's got higher averages too overall than Morris. Morris started really good early on. First all rookie team, first year in his league as a Raptor in 2001. He was on the first team all rookie, and he progressed like to about 2006. He was getting better and better. In fact, he had his best year as a pro in 2006 as a Raptor. And then after that, Morris had some injuries and his numbers started to decline. So in some ways, Norman's had a longer successful career than Morris in some ways already, because he's played, I don't know how many years Norman's been in the league, about 10 years now. And Morris was in the league for 11. And Norman's going to keep going. I don't think he's going to be done anytime soon. He's got probably about 2 or 3 more years, right? So he'll end up playing longer than Mo Pete. And right now he's at his peak right at the end. Whereas where Morris was about 10 years in his career, he's close to being done. So it's not fair to compare. In some ways, it's apples to oranges. But I can see why you would want to compare the two of them as far as their roles on the Raptors at their different eras. Yeah. Trevor's saying, thanks, Seymour. If I'm not working or which family I stay out of the way, ain't nobody got time for that shit, man. Well, you know what? I would say this, Trevor, even though I know you're a busy guy and you probably don't have any time for it, we better have time for it, because if we don't do something about it, the way that things could go would be very, very bad. So I would urge everyone to do something to help with the resistance somehow, some way. Me personally, in some ways, the best way I can do it is being on here, just trying to inform and talk more about it in a real, truthful way about what's happening, because there's a lot of mass media that's totally misrepresenting it. There's a lot of bots on social media that are in places just trying to collude and make it look like public opinion's a certain way against the protesters. It's not true. Those are manufactured bots that are not real people. And the mass media is bought and paid for it this time to paint the picture of what's going on in LA. The area where it's happening is very small. LA is not burning down or destroyed, but the way that Fox News is talking about it, you'd think that it's an apocalypse there. But that's not true. So in some ways, it's important for grassroots media like myself to continue to tell the truth about what's going on, because the media is supposed to do that, but they're not, because they're basically bought and paid for by oligarchs at this point. So, we all got to do our part, Trevor. And, you may not be on the front lines in the street facing the officers, but you can find ways to help them still. And I would implore you to. It's not a good time to be neutral. It's not a good time to sit on the sidelines. We need everybody to help in whatever way they can. But I'm not going to ask you to do anything that you're not comfortable with. I would say, though, you should find some ways that you can try to help, because every little bit's going to help in the long run. Trust me. Even me coming here and talking to 20 of y'all in the morning can help, because I talk to you guys. We share information. And then you guys talk to other people in your lives, and it spreads, it goes around. And, that's important right now, because the truth is being misrepresented by people that are supposed to be telling the truth. So we as the people need to continue to understand what the truth is, and perception is not necessarily the truth. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's see. Seymour's got 100%. Okay. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Mo Pete is one of my favorite Raptors as well, along with Amir and Jorge Garbosa. That's a great list, man. You got real ones on there. You got Amir, who put the Raptor claw on the back of his hair. You got Jorge Garbosa, who came so late in his professional career as a rookie and then broke his leg. And man, that was so sad when he broke his leg. It kind of really screwed up our team that year, for sure. Good to see my friend Stargate. Always good to see him in the morning. Kaloy's here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. I was watching the hockey game last night, and they got down 0-3, then didn't watch, only to see them come back and win overtime. Don't worry, I won't watch the series again. Go Oilers. See, this is what he was saying the other day. It's like we were talking about me and the Blue Jays. And, well, I think it is true. Kaloy, I'm sorry. You can't watch the Stanley Cup Finals anymore. It's obvious. You watch the first period. They're down 0-3, and then you go away. You don't watch the rest of it, and the Oilers come back. Yeah, it's just obviously this way. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes it's just this kind of stuff. The settings and the parameters have to be right. And unfortunately, Kaloy, you cannot watch the Stanley Cup Finals. You are barred. I'm sorry. You're officially barred by me and anybody else who wants to join my barring of Kaloy. This is for the country's good, my guy. Make the sacrifices for the country, my guy. Yeah, yeah. And all the best to Santino, my friend. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying the strikes were to destabilize trans-nuclear programs. What? The strikes were to destabilize trans-nuclear program. I don't even know where that comment came from. That's weird. Why is that being said? I don't know. We're talking about nuclear program. Anyway, all right, let's keep it on basketball, guys. I think I did my political part just now. James is saying, I saw a report online. Raps might pick Derek Queen if Maluach's not on the board. Thoughts? Yeah, that's really just ESPN's mock draft, his latest one. They're gaslighting us. And they're saying that I don't think that that's a report. I think that that's somebody who read an ESPN article and they're parroting it. That's what it is. There's no the report is Giovanni and Wu coming out and saying the Raptors should pick Derek Queen. And that's gaslighting, honestly. They've heard the interview where he said, I hear there's really bad taxes in Canada. And they know that he's probably not a good fit for us. So don't believe this, James, because like ESPN does not want good things for us. So why would they're writing in their article that we should pick Derek Queen, who Derek Queen has already been averse to coming to Toronto. They just want to stir the pot, honestly, man. And I'd say Derek Queen's a non-starter. Most of Raptors Nation has already caught on to this. And whoever's reported is doing this, they're gaslighting us. So don't put anything into this. All right, I'll say this once again. If Masai and Bobby pick Derek Queen, it's something I don't know, and I'll trust them. But right now, all signs from the outside are pointing to he's not the right one for us at 9. And the people that are putting it out there that we should pick him, well, you can taint them as not for the Raptors and not looking out for our best interest. They're actually telling you this if you look at it really closely. So wherever you're hearing this report from, don't get any news about the Raptors anymore because they're not on our side and they're not being factual for what we need and what we're looking for. Yeah, Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Hope you're having a great Friday. TGIF, my guy. TGIF. Most saying, Lex, I wrote to Mo Pete. He should play for the Big Three again. He did at one point. Yeah, he did go and play with Oak and them. I mean, obviously he's got an in that league with Charles Oakley, being former teammates and friends. So yeah, I do kind of remember Morris playing for the Big Three. It looks like he still got it, Mo. You're right. It seems like he could go there. I mean, there's older guys playing in the Big Three than him right now. And, he's still a name and he's known. So, yeah. Morris is in Michigan State right now because he's doing speeches to alumni and students and just coming back as like, a former Flintstone and coming in and, just representing and showing his pride in Spartans. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that this week Morris is around giving back to his alma mater by being a mentor and a public speaker for them. And that's what the picture of the stream is he's on the mic talking to students at Michigan State. So, yeah, what a great guy, man. We love Morris, an Iron Man in the history of the NBA. That's right. Seymour saying both the NBA and NHL finals will be pushed to a Game 7 in favor of the owners to get max revenue. That could be true. The extender is in Indiana tonight. He will be the crew chief, Scott Foster. And, we'll have to see. I really like to see Indiana go up 3-1. And then maybe we see like a weird evening out with Oklahoma City winning the next two. And then, boom, there's a Game 7, maybe. And there's a lot of drama. But I'd still like the Indiana Pacers to win overall, even in a Game 7 in Oklahoma City. So, man, either way, I think we're going to be delighted with a great rest of the finals, even if it's slightly manipulated or massaged to go extra games. I won't be upset about that. In some ways, once their games are over, the NBA season's over and there's no NBA basketball for a while. So let's go ahead and wring all of it out of the towel while we can, right? But I understand what you're saying, and I think you're exactly right, Seymour. There probably will be more games, partly because of that right there. Yeah. He's not dumb to what's going on here. He understands. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, MJ. Always happy to see you. And salute from the sheriff to eye candy. That's right. Most saying happy Raptors championship anniversary to those who celebrate. I think we all do here. I hope so. I hope we celebrate that championship still. Yeah, let's go to the Instagram stories. That's a good cue for this. Where are we? All right, Matt Devlin first, and he's doing that exact thing that Monique is talking about, celebrating 6-year anniversary of the Raptors beating the Golden State Warriors at Oracle Arena to win their first NBA championship in 2019. And yeah, he's got the call, his own call of winning. The Raptors are NBA champions. And yeah, of course, that's a huge day for Matt Devlin, because he got to call his home team get in the championship, and he'll put that on blast every single year. And I love that, Matt. I love that. I love that culture. Toronto Tempo unveiling some stuff in the last day. First of all, they have a whole cool thing on 6 things to know about queer basketball history. And they're highlighting how the WNBA was an early safe space for queer basketball. in the late 90s. And then they kind of went over this timeline of integrating Pride nights into the WNBA and the NBA. And it's kind of crazy. I thought that there was more Pride activities going on around the NBA, but they didn't start acknowledging Pride until 2016, guys. Isn't that crazy? I know we see it so often in the Raptors years in the last few years, but the Raptors really didn't start doing a whole lot with Pride until 2016. The NBA at that time started embracing Pride Month. So there's a lot of cool history for Pride this month on the Toronto Tempo stuff, and they're really, really embracing, that part of their fan base. They have a bunch of Pride merchandise that's dropping. It's coming soon. I think it's in 15 hours from now or something. They'll be coming out with Toronto Tempo Pride crossover merchandise in the next few days. So look out for that. It looks like there's some of them. There's a hoodie, there's a t-shirt, and it's saying "Together We Win." And yeah, there's a cool tote bag too. And they're Toronto Tempo Pride special items. Leo Routen's words of wisdom. Sometimes you don't need a reason for everything you do in life. Do it because you want to, because it's fun, because it makes you happy. Well, Leo, you just hit the nail on the head for part of the reason why I do this channel, because it's fun. I love it and I want to, and it does make me happy. And I love you, Leo, for your words of wisdom. That's right. Go get your coffee. Leo wants you to drink a lot of coffee. That's right. AJ Lawson's on a boat, y'all. I'm not totally sure if he's near. Yeah, he is. There's the tower. He's out in Lake Ontario. I see the tower. I see the wind turbine down at LVO Center. Yeah, and I see the buildings at Parkdale. Yeah, he's out on a boat on Lake Ontario yesterday. So, AJ, you're out on a boat. There you go. It looks like he's meditating on a boat, is what he's saying. Also, he's saying, God, thank you for a new day. There's words of wisdom from AJ Lawson. He's just thankful for his life and, being a Raptor. Orlando Robinson's posted a picture from his days in Toronto. I love it, man. He's got The Alchemist playing. Alchemist is an underrated rapper. He's an amazing producer. The Alchemist, amazing producer. He's produced so many great tracks and beats for other artists, but he's a really underrated, lyrical guy too. Like, he can spit bars. And Orlando Robinson's got his music on his Instagram stories and a picture of him sitting on the red floor in Scotiabank Arena. And man, it's making me think, man, if we could circle back and have Orlando around somehow, some way in the future, I'd love that. Masai and Bobby, if there is some sort of retainer, you've got O-Rob on. Can we see him next year if there's any issues with not having enough bigs? Seriously, I'd like you to revisit with him. I know that maybe that won't happen, but this Raptor freak would love some O-Rob back on the Raptors. Seriously. Broke Baby Stunna. Eugenio Moroy's with the boys at the clothing store, and they're all wearing cool glasses. Actually, it's a picture of him with SGA, guys. It's very, very cool. Eugene is good friends with SGA, and he's in this picture with them, and they're all there is a picture. Who's that in the middle, though? Who is that in the middle? I'm pretty sure that's SGA on the right, though, in Eugene's pictures. So he's saying happy birthday to the guy in the middle. I'm not sure who the guy in the middle is. He's posting Susie Orman, who's saying everybody wants you to be successful until you are successful. Then they want to tear you down, is what Susie Orman's saying. She's a ruthless person. She tore everybody down on her way up to the top in what she does, I'm sure. This is also what Eugene's saying. Being broke taught me hunger. Being alone taught me strength. Being played taught me patience. I didn't lose. I was trained by life to never be the weak version of me again. Those are great words of wisdom, man. We get words of wisdom from everybody these days. AJ Lawson, Eugenio Moroy, Trevor J, Leo Routens. There you go. Savannah Hamilton's out with a friend of hers. It looks like they're kind of on a friend date. And they've got frosty drinks. Is she still in Greece? She missed me. Okay, so she's back. So she's back and with her BFF at the restaurant, and there's Savannah. They look like they're having little champagne glasses, but it looks all frothy like it's beer. Savannah looks cute, and yeah, she looks happy to be back. She looks refreshed from her long vacation that she just did. All right, Morris Peterson's on the Instagram stories, and guess what he's doing? He's bombing half-court shots from the Spartan Head at Michigan State, and so casually. He hits one, he walks away, he's smiling. And his nephew's filming him, and he's like, "Oh, watch this. Give me the ball again." and they throw the ball to him again, and it's like it's nothing. It's like he's throwing layups in. He throws the basketball from half court again. He doesn't jump over the line and drains it once more. It's easy for him. That's what we're talking about today. That's what I'm freaking out about. And not only this is Morris has reposted this 5 times on his Instagram stories. Everybody's posting, and they even got the little kid like making a face like, man, look at that guy at the end. The little kid's like shaking his head. he's like, man, that guy's good. Yeah, but yeah, the real Mo Pete, his camera skills on point by his nephew, and he made 4 in a row, apparently, is what it says on here. He made 4 half-court shots in a row at 47, 14 years out of the NBA, guys. That, once you got it, you got it. I guess that's just what it is. Well, you got it, you got it. And Morris Peterson's got it from half court. That's kind of been his signature move. If you think about it, in his whole career, that was his signature move. That one huge shot against the Wizards. And I know he had shots like that for Michigan State too. So yeah, pretty awesome. He put it on there like 5 times. Hilarious, man. DeMar DeRozan's out on the football field still. He's watching the kids play, and he's hanging out with, I don't even know who this is. I guess this is a guy who's in the NFL, who's on the Rams, that plays for Los Angeles. And he's like buddying up with him. I don't know exactly. DeMar's got a cool Godfather shirt on. Nat Bhatia in the picture with the other super fans at the Indiana Pacers game the other night. And he's hugging Lou Dort and saying, future's bright for Shea, Lou, Andrew, Benedict. Came to Indiana to watch our Canadians on the global stage. And, of course, love my basketball. So many friends on both teams. I can't pick a side. So he's wearing the neutral Canada red 95 jersey with super fan on the back. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Chris Boucher is listening to Mamma Mia, Here I Go Again. Bye bye. He's got ABBA on his Instagram stories, and it's Here I Go Again out to the court to put more shots up and continue to work on my game because I'm an ever evolving basketball player in the NBA. There you go. I love it. And there he's saying, this Kevin Gates guy is crazy. Like he said something about like, if I don't have my coffee in the morning, I'm the opposite of coffee. I'm backwards. And what does coffee backwards say? E-fuck. I'm E-fuck. It's so crazy what he said. And he's not real. That can't be real, right? Yeah, I don't know, Chris. He's funny, though. I watched this show a couple times. He's an interesting guy, Kevin Gates. He's also got a clip of Kevin Hart at the Essence Awards. Wearing some crazy jacket with no shirt. And yeah, he brought the laughs all night long. Yeah, he's a funny guy. Kevin Hart's always been funny. At least he is to me. Some people don't think he's funny. I think he's funny. I think he's funny. He was really funny at All-Star Weekend too sometimes. And he's got his highlight reel up. Chris Boucher saying, "Glory to the Most High." Chris is really getting close with God right now. He's been very, very overt with his spirituality and his belief in Christ. And I think it's helping guide him through the uncertainty of this free agency summer for him. And I applaud him for finding that as his guidance. In some ways, I need to follow his lead like a lot of us should. In these uncertain turmoil times, we got to trust our faith in God, that God's looking out. He's going to make everything right at the end. In fact, I find daily inspiration from words of wisdom from Trevor and Randolph. In fact, Trevor gives words of wisdom on his Facebook all the time, where he puts passages from the Bible and great scripture that's very, very helpful to keep your head on straight as far as when there is times of trouble and turmoil, how to keep peace inside yourself and just have a devout belief that no matter what's going to happen, God is looking out and everything's going to be all right. It's going to work out in the right way. And Chris is in that spot right now. The summer is confusing for him. And in some ways, you know what? He knows whatever comes through it, he's a superstar. He's going to be fine. That's right. He's going to be fine. Let's see. He's got this clip. This is crazy. Like, I guess this has to do with the ice stuff going on down there. Chris has got this clip of this family who are really excited that they got Fernando back. And I'm just going to guess Fernando was taken by ice and maybe in a detention center, and they're showing them getting their dude back. He may even be their gardener or something like that. I don't know. But either way, Chris thinks it's wholesome. But yeah, there's a lot of sad stuff with families getting split up for no reason, just because of cruelty and racism, honestly. Let's see. Chris Brown's in his next clip. I don't even know if I want to talk about when the old me and new me are trying to figure out who's handling the situation. Well, Chris, go with the new me. I would just say that, Chris Boucher. Go with the new me. The old you, in some ways, may have handled things in some ways not the best. You know, you were more immature when you were younger, right? So go with the new me, because the mature version of you has probably got the right idea how to handle things. Let's just put it that way. to not cause you more problems. He's also put on this clip, and this is interesting. He put this clip up of Penny Taylor and the Phoenix Mercury franchise honoring Diana Taurasi last year. This clip is like over a year old, and it's about Taurasi retiring from the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA after 20 years of playing for one franchise and being such a embedded part of their culture and their identity. It was a weird thing to transition to this year being the first post Diana Taurasi year in the WNBA for Phoenix. And not only that, they said goodbye to their center, Brittany, also this past offseason. So Phoenix went through a lot of change, but it's an interesting clip that Chris is posting because, first of all, it says two things. It says that he respects Diana Taurasi as a player of basketball and what she has accomplished in her long WNBA career. But I think it's also a hint at longevity and loyalty to franchises as far as the relationship between Diana and the Phoenix Mercury was unblemished. It was pretty much they were together. And I'm hoping that this is an overture about him and the Raptors. That in some ways, Chris is the longest standing Raptor at this point. And in some ways, maybe he's sending a message to the Raptors. It's like, look, this is how the Mercury treated Diana. And in some ways, I hope that you guys can give me the same respect because I will show y'all loyalty if you show me loyalty. And I think this is kind of what the message is here to an extent. I don't know, Chris, you're watching me. I hope I'm getting things right when I'm trying to interpret your Instagram stories. And know that when I talk about what you're doing on Instagram, it's for the benefit of the Raptors fans understanding what's going on with you better. It's not to be causing problems. Just so you know, I'd like to communicate for you and your voice to help you in whatever you want, Chris, whether it is to be on the Raptors still or not. You know, I'm hoping you do. And this is the sad thing Chris has posted. He's saying that in the Air India crash that you guys told me about yesterday, that a Canadian dentist from Etobicoke is one of the casualties in the crash. A very attractive young lady who worked on dentist stuff here in Toronto. And that's sad, man. Chris is showing sympathies and condolences and sadness over the passing of this dentist in the crash. And then his last story is he's got Michael Beasley, and he's saying, if God told you your journey before your journey, you'd look at him like he was crazy. I'm just happy he chose me. Yeah, you know, everybody's got crazy paths in their lives. Your path is your own life. And in some ways, it's got good and bad parts. And you've just got to kind of accept your life's path for what it is. It may not have been exactly what you thought when you were a kid as you get older, but just trust, once again, in God that your path was intended to be the way it is, the way it laid out, and the way it happened. And I like that. There's a real peace that people can get when they don't go against what's happened with them and they just accept it and they go forward with the knowledge and the wisdom gleaned from what has happened to them. And Chris Boucher understands this very much. And I think Michael Beasley does too. Jared Roden is much simpler to do on the Instagram stories. He's out on for a walk with the dog, and the dog is looking pretty happy on a sunny day in the summer. And yeah, he's got just water in his hand. I don't know if that's an indirect advertisement, Jared, that you're holding a vitamin water in your hand. The frame. Are you trying to get some branding or an endorsement deal here or something? I don't know. It's kind of funny. Let's see. Lindsey Dunn is interviewing Our Lady Peace because apparently they're going in the Canadian Walk of Fame. I'm not a big fan of Our Lady Peace, but she's saying that they're legends. Yeah, I guess. Gary Trent is still at Remy's doing his workout in Hollywood, Florida, and he is leaping a lot. I mean, you know how Gary does his little leaps to get to his shot? Well, I see the whole thing that he's doing to get ready for that in the off season. He does these crazy leaps, and like he jumps so high, and he's able to jump laterally really far over the side. I mean, for him, that's part of his bread and butter for getting open in the NBA is these crazy leaps. From the side, you jump this way, you know. And then the last thing I got for Instagram stories today is I need to tell y'all this. This is very interesting. Y'all might want to watch this tonight. Apparently, during the finals game tonight, Kevin Love, Channing Frye, and our GOAT, Kyle Lowry, are going to be on live commentating during the finals game. So you guys could listen to those three guys instead of the broadcast. If you're sick of Mike Breen and Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson, well, Kyle Lowry's going to be doing commentary for the game tonight. And you can listen to it at the chat on WhatsApp, Off Ball. And Kevin Love is the host with Channing Frye and Kyle Lowry. Of course, Kevin Love is reeling this week from the passing of his uncle, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. He considers him his uncle, even though he's not his blood uncle, because of the closeness of the Love family with the Wilson family from the Beach Boys connection. So, yeah, there's a really heartfelt letter that Kevin Love wrote about Brian Wilson that came out in public yesterday. It's amazing because apparently Kevin Love's dad, Stan Love, who played in the NBA, who was a very tall man, was the bodyguard for Brian Wilson for a while. And there were times when Brian Wilson would come and stay with Kevin Love when he was a kid because he was staying with his dad for protection. It was also around times when Brian Wilson had mental health problems and addiction problems. So it's weird because Kevin Love grew up in a household where his dad was like looking out for one of the biggest musical geniuses in the history of the world. I mean, that man wrote God Only Knows and Good Vibrations. So, yeah, it's really sad, the passing of a lot of musical legends this week, including Brian Wilson, Sly Stone. Yeah, there's been some big ones this week. So, yeah, y'all, if you want to hear Kyle call the game, he's going to be calling the game with Channing Frye and Kevin Love on a web WeChat or something like that. So check that out. There's your Instagram stories. Keeping y'all informed on Raptors current and present and future and past. All that, all at the same time. That's right. Let's go. Seymour saying this. Lex, I got to send you the clip of PK Subban, okay? Let me see. I jumped ahead. Let me get back. Arguing with Markieff Morris about who's more athletic, hockey players or basketball players. PK Subban. This is an interesting argument. Why don't we just get the soccer players in there too, since they don't have skates and they run like further distance than the hockey players. I don't know what PK was arguing for. I'm going to say this right now, as far as my point of view on this. Basketball players jump vertically. Basketball players have to have the ability to take hits in the air. Y'all stay on the ground. Y'all stay on skates. In fact, you're enhanced by skates. Y'all are faster because of skates. And listen, I can get it. You got to keep staying in motion constantly. But I'm telling you right now, without any protective gear, with the verticality of basketball, the athleticism that you need to have as a basketball player is much more intense and necessary than a hockey player. And whatever Subban said to Morris, it's not going to, I'm going to say this right now, that hockey players are not more athletic than basketball players because they don't have the dimension of up. That's what I'm going to say right there. If you can jump 50 inches in the air, no, you can't. And that's why you're not more athletic. And that's the difference right there, PK Subban. I mean, listen, I like a lot of what you say and your dad. You guys are smart dudes, and I'm proud of you guys as Canadians. But you're off on this one, bro. Because listen, can you jump through the air and take almost 280-pound 7-foot man hitting you while you're in the air and still finish the shot, even if you're a foot shorter and maybe 100 pounds lighter like SGA? Yeah, don't give me this crap, Subban. I'm sorry. The verticality of the basketball game is the difference. And y'all don't leave the ground. Y'all are on skates too. And I don't care if you're constantly in motion. I don't give a shit about that. You've seen how much we have to run up and down the court. I don't know how many miles a hockey player would skate, but Fred VanVleet will run a lot of miles up and down the court every single NBA game. Just trust me on that. They've measured it. And that man's running like 5 miles every single NBA game. So don't give me this crap. Let's go, Raptors. That's right, Stargate. That's right. I have been to Puerto Rico numerous times. I think it's probably an awesome place. There's probably a lot of misconceptions about it, but I do know in public events, Puerto Rican fans can be very crazy, like throwing batteries crazy, like very dangerous crazy, like rioting crazy. And I know from the history of wrestling, that's where I know it from. There's been all kinds of ugly incidents that have happened in Puerto Rico with crowds at times. That's why DeMarcus Cousins, that's not the right place to be engaging with the crowd. Trust me. Maybe other places, but you shouldn't be doing it anyway, honestly. He should be doing that anyway. Stargate saying China, not with Stephon Marbury. He's like a god over there. Yeah, China. I mean, listen, Dwight Howard got into something in a fight over there recently. Like Dwight Howard's playing over in Asia, and I'm not sure if he's in China or another country, but he got into it with some Asian players over there, and like almost got in a fight in the middle court. It wasn't with fans though; it was with the other team, and it looked a little ugly. It looked a little weird too because he's so big, and it didn't look right. It didn't look fair. The guy he was picking on and we wanted to fight with, which is crazy. Monique is saying, Lex, in reference to that Pascal interview with Malika Andrews, was too quick, but good. Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a bad interview. In some ways, it was good, but I'm really pissed about that interview, honestly. I hate ESPN so much. I honestly, all right, I have to say this. This is something from like a couple years ago, guys, and Stargate brought this up on the Discord yesterday, that they warned me about Malika Andrews 2 years ago. And that I was standing up for her. Now I got to say once again, I don't watch ESPN. I have a very surface level of like engaging with it. It's basically if there's something I have to watch, like the Pascal interview yesterday, I'll watch it. But otherwise, I'm ignoring them as much as possible. And I had a blind spot for a few years now. And I stood up for Malika Andrews a couple years ago because she was a woman of color. And I was trying to say, well, some ways people are attacking her in some ways, and I don't think it's fair. But y'all were telling me at that point, no, man, Lex, no, you're wrong. She is been canceled apparently by people because they don't like what she's doing. Like in some ways, she come after black male athletes in certain ways that are toxic. And I get that. And I didn't listen at that time, but it's come around at this point where Lex has to say, you know what, y'all were right again. And it's specifically to people like Stargate that warned me about this. That Malika Andrews is kind of like, to me, I don't even know if she's a real person at this point. Like she's a composite ESPN kind of like, I feel like some of these boy bands from Asia are like not real people. They're like AI made. They look like it because of their makeup and the way they look like they're computer generated. In some ways, she's like I don't know. She's like I don't know. There's something weird about her. But the thing that pissed me off about that interview, Mo, is that it seemed like both her and Pascal were not allowed to say two words in that interview. And those two words were Toronto and Raptors. Because you see how they skipped over the whole entire part of Siakam's career. They showed a little clip of him with the Cameroon flag and the Larry O'Brien from the Raptors championship. But they really are trying not to give any kind of prestige to the Raptors indirectly by, they probably told her, don't say the word Toronto, don't say the word Raptors. Because if you watch that whole interview, they do not mention us once. And even Siakam kind of dances around it himself. He may have said the word Toronto Raptors in that interview, but they cut that part out. But yeah, I think that tells you a lot. If you're observant and you watch that interview, pay attention to what I'm talking about. They are trying their damnedest not to give any later shine to the Raptors championship or even the Raptors franchise, Toronto Raptors, in any kind of way. Because in some ways, if they show the excellence that Siakam had with us, that's building our brand and our culture and our standing for being winners. And they're so salty that they won't even put that in that interview. And, think about when those Celtics won last year, how much Celtics champion. We heard that. And when we won in 2019, the year after that, they barely tried to even say Raptors champion. So this is a symptom of this. In some ways, they are trying to shape the perception that the Raptors are not a championship caliber franchise. And by doing that, they just don't say it, overlook it. And if you watch that interview with Pascal and Malika, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Because it's like, it's just like, it's very like, oh, there's a void. As somebody said in the Discord, they showed Siakam in his New Mexico State highlights and then jumped immediately to Indiana. Like he didn't even play in Toronto. And then they say, oh, he won in the G League and he won a championship. But they don't say that he won with the 905 or with the Toronto Raptors. So that interview is good because Siakam looks great and he's going to make us look good either way. But the omission of these kind of things that I'm talking about is a direct evidence that ESPN is not trying to promote the Toronto Raptors. That's for damn sure. So 2-finger salute to Malika and ESPN, her employer. Yeah, 2-finger salute to them. Yeah, Nako saying, James, I still like Queen. I don't think he's popular around these parts. No, he's not. I've gone over this, Gerald. Once again, I'm going to say this. The Queen has a high bust factor. I think that he has a high bust factor. Everybody said Zion Williamson was such a sure thing. Has he been a sure thing since he's played? He should have been. He had all the tools, but he hasn't been. He's been a fail. Well, I'm going to say, we're going to make player comparisons. I'm going to compare him to Zion Williamson because there's a high chance that Derek Queen's not going to take his career seriously. He's going to get overweight and he's going to be just like Williamson. So I don't want that guy on my team. I already looked at him. His body is not athletic. He's not working out. His arms are not muscular. And he has a certain kind of body that's very much a load that looks like it could put on weight real easy as far as fat. So I wouldn't trust that man to stay in shape. And I would say that he has a high Zion Williamson bust factor in him. So I would caution, do not pick Derek Queen because he could be very much Zion too. Let's just put it that way. Let's put it that way. That's right. The medium is the message. The medium is the message. The medium. What about the medium? Let's see. Trevor's saying Cousins was not wrong. That fan pushed him first, and then he got showered by fans on both sides with beer walking back the tunnel. He doesn't need to engage with them. He could probably say a couple things to that fan, but once they physically start touching each other, there's the problem right there. You can talk back and forth. That guy can say some words or nothing. But he got mad because the man shot a bird at him? Come on, man. Come on. You got to be tougher than that. That shows a weakness of DeMarcus Cousins' mind, that he could lose his temper just because a man gave him a one-finger salute. No, you got to be tougher than that. Seriously, that shows that he's soft mentally, that he loses his temper so easily. I don't care what's going on with him. That man makes a lot of money to play basketball. And in some ways, yeah, you're right. You shouldn't be taking that kind of abuse from people. If somebody's going to say something back to them. That's fine. Or tell the referees to throw their ass out. But you never put your hand on the fan. I'm sorry. And the fans throwing beer is tacky too. I agree with that. But you know what? In these situations, just like the ones in LA and other places around the cities in United States right now, we have to be the bigger people. We have to be the bigger people in the face of people acting totally wrong. Because in some ways, the people that are the bigger people through this whole thing will end up winning. They will. And the other side's already not the bigger people. They're cowards. And honestly, a lot of the ICE people that are working, they're absolutely scared and cowards. They can act all tough and have all the weapons in all the world, but they are yellow cowards. And in some ways, turning their back on the Constitution is the first sign that they are cowards. So, yeah. Either way, you just got to be a better person, DeMarcus. You got to be above this. You show immaturity and show that you're weak mentally when you do stuff like that. Yeah. Stargate's saying, nah, they won't pick Queen. Hope Philly picks him. That'd be awesome. There's a lot of talk that Philly's trying to jump up into the second pick or something like that. There's a lot of weird talk going on right now with goofy stuff. I don't know. Once again, trust in Masai and Bobby for us, and trust that Philadelphia and Daryl Morey will screw theirs up. That's what I'll say right there. Randolph saying, blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang, do to others as you would have done to you. Remember, what goes around comes around. Give out only what you welcome in your life. This is so true. I mean, if you've put out bad energy in your life and gotten bad energy back, that's the feedback loop. But you can do it the other way. You can do it on the positive tip. And I'm telling you, man, that's the better life right there. It's the same life. It's just how you perceive it. It's the same life. It's how you look at it. You can dwell on all the worst things in your life, and you will get more of a worse kind of perception. If you dwell on the good things in your life, even if you have bad things in your life, you will have a good perception. So a lot of it is under your control. And Randolph's exactly right. This is a huge, huge word of wisdom. Put out what you want to receive. So be that good force. I went to the grocery store yesterday. I was all smiles and happiness, even though the world's burning down. And I tried to spread love, and other people showed love back to me. So reciprocation was there. You can talk to the stock boy at the grocery store and just say hey to him. Just talk to him because he's working, but he's a human being. Just talk to him. He's not like below me or anything. Just talk to him as a person. Talk to the sushi chef at your grocery store. Talk to the checkout girl. And hey, what do you do? You study graphic design in Ottawa? Cool. Just show interest in other people, show love, show appreciation, and that's what you'll get back. Honestly, this may be like Hall of Fame words of wisdom right here from Randolph today. So we're going to give him a dunk for it. And I'm going to say blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. This is exactly right. What comes around goes around. Put out the good so it'll come back to you. That's right. That's Randolph's fourth dunk of the year. He's at 12 now. Good stuff. Good stuff. Seymour saying 100%. He agrees. Nako saying nobody knows what Bobby and Messiah are going to pick. That's right. And they shouldn't. It's like the secret sauce. It's like the Colonel's secret recipe. It's proprietary. And in some ways, you don't need to know all the ingredients in this formula that Messiah and Bobby are going to figure this out. We just need to trust them, and we'll see the results on the other side of the draft. We'll see those results. Last year, weren't you learned, Raptors Nation, to trust them after 5 exemplary young men joined the Raptors last year as rookies? And all 5 of them have a very promising future for our team. I think that the track record shows Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed. You need to trust Messiah and Bobby when it comes to draft day, Raptors fans. And stop trying to do their job. Stop trying to tell them who they should pick because they know way better than you. Is that's what I'm going to say. I will give suggestions, but I'm never going to say, you have to do this. And if you don't, I'm going to be mad at you, Messiah. Because that's silly. That's childish. That's acting like a child, honestly. That's right. That's right. Let's see what else is going on here. Trevor's saying 3 Raptors on the ringers. Top 100, Scotty, 46. Ingram, 72. RJ, 80. And IQ didn't make it. Yeah, the ringer top 100 got updated like 2 weeks ago. I looked at it then. I dismissed it. I said, yeah, screw the ringer and their dumbass top 100. You know, some of it is that some of those guys dropped in their rankings. Like Scotty was higher last year. Ingram was higher last year. RJ was higher last year. And IQ was on the list last year, but he's not this year. So fuck the ringer. 2 finger salute, just like I gave one to ESPN earlier with their bullshit. Smith saying Iran responded by drones, but according to reports, most did not get through. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I see that you guys may be taking comments away from before. I don't know what's going on with Iran. I haven't looked at the news this morning. If there's some sort of counter attacks and stuff like that, maybe it's related to Israel or something like that. I don't know. In some ways, like I said, guys, I want to keep this on basketball. In some ways, I will talk the politics that we really, really have to. But in some ways, man, like I said, this is the one sanctuary I want to have away so that we can just be fans and have fun talking basketball. Stargate saying, yes, Nako, yes, true. However, historically, B&M pick players with a particular mental makeup, and what Queen has shown is that he doesn't have that makeup. We can only speculate based on historical evidence. Yeah, I'm going to get right behind Stargate on this 100%. He is using empirical evidence from the past of the patterns of our front office. And yeah, Derek Queen's not one of those guys. You can tell who these guys are. Like we've watched a lot of interviews with Rasheer Fleming this week, and Rasheer Fleming's a very well-spoken guy with the right head on his shoulders. And in some ways, he is showing more of the signs of the kind of player that Bobby Messiah would want to draft. This totally matters. And this is alluded by statements like Chris Boucher saying, if you're even a Raptor, or if you even got in the door or were considered for us, you're a quality person. Because they're not letting any old knucklehead that's coming to the NBA come be a Raptor. There's a certain level of prestige and requirements and qualifications before you even get to smell a Toronto Raptors jersey. And I don't think Derek Queen's got the goods, to be quite honest, up here and character-wise. And I think Stargate's exactly right on this point. In fact, I'm going to give Stargate a dunk, not only for this point, but also for, you know what? I have to circle back and say I was wrong on Malik Andrews, and you guys were right. And so Stargate's at 90. He's got 30 dunks now at this point for the year. There you go. Nako saying, I see smart basketball. I see more smart basketball than not with Queen. I said I see Jokic in him, and I have to look at him as a good prospect that the Raptors should be interested in at least. Whether or not he's right for us is up to B&M. All right, this is the one thing that's being touted about Derek Queen in this draft is that he's the most skilled big man. He's the most ready to go, maybe the best offensive big man in the league, and that may be true. But that doesn't mean that he'll be successful at the next level. The thing is, at this point, Gerald, is we're talking about a thing called DeRozan code at this point. And some guys have DeRozan code. DeRozan code is the ability or the want to go above and beyond, working hard and making yourself better and better every year. Now, when I analyze players on whether they may have DeRozan code, it's about how they talk. It's about their attitude. It's about the way they carry themselves. You can look at SGA and see how he carries himself with consistency. You can look at Pascal And look at the way he is the hardest working player that Rico Hines has ever seen in his life. Derek Queen does not have a body that tells me that he works hard. Players can be talented as hell, all talent in the world, but if they don't work hard, I don't want them on my team because that is a player that will just waste your time. They'll come into your team as fool's gold and they'll say, oh, he's so talented. Derek Queen can do this and this and this on offense. But if he's not working behind the scenes like Siakam, if he's not showing a DeRozan code, I don't want him on my team. I don't care how talented he is. In some ways, he could be the most talented player in the world, but he's lazy behind the scenes. He's not the player you want. There's a lot of very good players in this league that are not very good players because they're lazy behind the scenes, but they're supremely talented and they coast on that. So there's a couple of red flags there. So yeah, you know what? They've looked at him, I'm sure, and they probably already decided what they decided. And it's probably very similar to what Stargate and I decided about him. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So I hope that you understand what I'm saying here. He may very well be the most offensively ready to go and to come into the NBA. But Zion Williamson was also a very highly touted draft prospect, very highly touted, way more highly touted than Derek Queen. And I say he has the same chances of going the same route as Zion Williamson. So I'll say this, Gerald, in 5 years, why don't you check with me on Derek Queen? And we'll talk about where he is in his career at that point. Yeah, we'll see then. How about that? Stargate saying nobody was higher on Derek Queen than I was. I was really high on him too until I saw he fucked up his combine and he fucked up that interview. And that's first impressions. Chicago Combine, for all that draft class, that's their first impressions for all 30 of the NBA teams. And he knows he's getting interviewed with a Canadian reporter. And he let that out. That's dumb, man. That's knuckleheaded. And maybe in some ways on purpose. Because Gerald, listen, somebody going to talk about the taxes in their interview. It sounds like you don't want to come to Toronto. And that he basically is telling us with a time. I mean, what is CIA, former CIA operative Bobby Webster reading that with body language in his words? He's listening to him. And he's hearing him say, well, he just said the taxes may be a problem in Canada. Messiah, I don't know if we should draft Derek. Yeah, Bobby, I think you're right. Yep, and there you go. Boom. It's that easy. We're going to pay attention to everything because this is a big, huge deal drafting somebody. We're investing millions of dollars in them. And if he's going to give us little signs already that he may be discontented in Toronto, why the hell would we draft him, Gerald? Seriously, why the hell would we draft him? And would his management tell him, say something about the taxes, and then Toronto will definitely not want to draft you because I know you don't want to go to Canada. Seriously, let's read the tea leaves, see the signs, and understand. Because like Stargate said, both him and I were very high on Queen. In fact, he was the number 2 after Mala Watch when we originally started our recommendations for Bobby and Masai. Common for sure, number 1. But Asa Newell took that second spot for me once I heard Derek Queen open his mouth at the Combine. And that's it right there, Gerald. That's it right there. Neil's saying, in the end, doesn't matter who we get as long as Darko is here. Darko will have development in mind whether we like it or not. Oh, yeah. And that's the great thing. I mean, I love it because in some ways, Darko is going to be developing whoever we get. And I know that they're going to, they're going to talk to Darko about who they draft. He's going to be in that war room with Bobby and Masai. And in some ways, they're going to consult him very closely. Because there's open channels of communication in the Raptors. There's not weird, petty fights and power struggles. It's a very healthy organization with very healthy communication lines. And it's not like Masai and Darko don't get along. No, they're hand in hand, walking forward, talking to each other. So, that's a great thing. If Darko gets his 2 cents in on what he sees in the draft, Bobby and Masai are going to listen to him. They're going to listen to him. And they'll all, together as a hive mind, make the right decision. That's right. Stargate saying Queen was my number 1 pick for the Raptors, even more than Common. See, and he soured on him after this. But other than the tax comment, also started what Lex sees. His body type has the propensity to quickly get out of hand. That's the thing. We were talking about Rasheer Fleming yesterday. That kid actually lifts weights. You can tell. The man has these shoulders and upper arms already. Rasheer Fleming. But you go look at Queen. Look at his body. He's not working hard off the court. He's playing basketball because he's good at it. but I don't think he's working hard off the court. And there's signs you can tell with guys when they're like this. There's signs you can tell. And look, I mean, if Masai was able to point out the diamond in the rough that Pascal Siakam is for athletic ability and possibility with gifts athletically, along with a drive to work that hard, he knows what that looks like in a player because he could point out Siakam way before anybody else. So that's what we got to trust right there. That's what we got to trust. Wayne saying, morning Raptor Freaks. I need distractions today. As stated at the start of the series, we're going to have numerous must-have win games for either team. Difficult to win 3 games straight. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, if Indiana wins tonight, boy, are the Thunder's backs against the wall. But it'll be high drama, and I'll enjoy it. I would love to see the Thunder have a fire lit under their ass in certain ways and see how they react. I still think in the whole scheme of things, and I talk about the NBA escalator to Larry O'Brien, that in some ways the Pacers are on a higher step than the Thunder as far as experience, veteran leadership, and understanding what it takes to win the championship. And even though the Thunder were such a juggernaut this whole entire season with the record and dominance of the Eastern Conference, they may find that their inexperience to a certain degree at coach and with their overall core is still there and not good enough to beat the Pacers in the place that they're at. The Pacers have gone up the stair steps a little bit more in the last couple of years and gotten to higher levels in the playoffs. And in some ways, that portends that the Pacers should win this championship because they understand what it takes a little bit better than the Thunder. And the Thunder may get the lesson this year and come back and be fighting for the championship next year with what they learned this year. But they may need to be rejected from winning the championship in the finals this year to really understand how much it takes to win it next year. Because I think the Pacers understand what it takes to win it a little bit more than Oklahoma City right now, which is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. Kareem saying most athletic players are tennis players. They only have washroom breaks and timeouts. Some matches go up to 5 hours in front of 20,000 fans and millions of viewers, not only physically more planet than demanding than most sports, but mentally fucking draining. Don't discount tennis players. They're from another planet. Okay, I didn't even know they were in the argument. I thought we were just talking about hockey and basketball, and I brought soccer into it because there's a kind of some of the same things with soccer and hockey. Okay, I'll let the record show the Cream is standing for tennis players being very, very athletic, and they're by themselves. They're doing all the work by themselves, unless they're on a doubles team. But yeah, I mean, I can get behind your logic in this. Blackhawk is saying this: verticality doesn't matter in hockey because the net is on the ice, and that is where the puck needs to go. There is no dunking the puck, just slap shots. Well, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, listen, to be able to jump with weight on you and go and direct, I'm just saying, we're talking about pure athleticism. I'm serious. All right. One way we could do this, and this is something that Fanatics is going to do, right? They're going to do this crazy cross sport competition, pros versus Joes. They're going to take 20 athletes from different sports, like Kevin Durant's in this, guys, and they're going to take 20 average citizens. And they're going to have all 40 of these competitors compete for a Ferrari and $1 million. And they're going to do each of the sports. So in some ways, what we're arguing right now will be put to the test by Fanatics Pros versus Joe's $1 million challenge. I don't know exactly when it's happening, sometime this summer. But they have people like, I think Aaron Rodgers is involved. And they've got players from different sports, and they're all going to compete in each other's sports. So we will actually get some proof in the pudding about who are the best athletes from a competition that Fanatics is doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the basketball players do really well on football, on baseball, and a lot of different things. I'm serious. And in some ways, in this competition, I will be rooting for people like Kevin Durant and the basketball players to show the NBA represent them very well. James Harden's in this competition too, guys. So we're going to see James Harden bowl, throw footballs. I think one of them, the competitions is that they have to make an entrance like a WWE superstar. So it's like, it's a weird competition. They have wrestlers involved in it too. Like I think Bailey's in it or something like that. I don't know if it's Bailey or something, but it's a very interesting list of who's in this Fanatics competition. And this will put to rest some of these arguments we're bringing up right now. There's hockey players involved too. We'll see how they do in the whole thing of it too. Yeah. Stargate saying, wasn't just me that was saying that about Malika. I remember Cool Cat and Fiercey were also, yeah. Fiercey chimed in saying that she's not down with her too on the Discord. Yeah, I'm giving you more credit because you're bringing it back around. But yeah, there's a couple things, Cool Cat's been on point on in a lot of ways. And this is one of them for sure. Blackhawk saying Malika being a person of color doesn't mean she doesn't come without issues. People can tell when a person is genuine and forthcoming. Lex is picking up on Toronto not being mentioned, genuine lacking. Yeah, I mean, she's a person of that network. She represents that network. To me, in some ways, I guess in some ways, I know my arguments before in the past for her may have been tainted by ignorance because like I said, I just didn't watch ESPN. I wasn't even actually listening to her. I just heard a lot of backlash against a woman of color. And I was like, well, maybe I want to stand up for her a little bit, but maybe I was in the wrong for that because she is really kind of skeevy and not really like, she is exactly like a tool for a corporate network that has all kinds of like directives. And she's a tool. She's a tool is basically what it is, I guess. And yeah, I didn't go in depth on it. I should have watched more of her from the past, but I'm catching up on it now, 2 years later. That's right. Kareem saying, as for the most famous camouflage jerseys, I do think we should wear them on Veterans Day. And I think we need to wear our Huskies uniforms on November 1st, 1946 to acknowledge the first NBA game. Wait, that date is past. Maybe on 2046, November 1st, maybe. I don't want the camouflage jerseys to come back. I've seen some mock-ups of it on Reddit. People are saying, oh, we should bring back the camouflage. Why are you saying this? I think that the Raptors nation that talks about jerseys all the time, you're idiots. In some ways, y'all that enjoy jersey talk and branding and colors and talking all about that, why don't you just go like get into fashion or something like that? We're about basketball. This is what it's all about. All this other stuff is distraction to me. Seriously. I'm about X's and O's. I'm about who wins the score. Who's on the court. I'm about dunks. I'm about rebounds. I'm about steals, assists. In some ways, the jerseys are an afterthought to me. Sure, I'd like the Raptors to look smart and respectable and clean. But in some ways, it's like the way some people obsess about the Raptors colors and jerseys in Raptors Nation is silly. I guess these are the people that are spending all the money on buying each jersey when they come out. I don't know. I just think it's silly. It's a waste of time. And everybody who keeps wanting to bring back different crazy jerseys that we have, well, we'll come around and get different ones at certain points. But some of the ones that are ugly as hell need to just stay there. And that camouflage jersey is one of them. That may be the worst jersey the Raptors ever wore, is that old camouflage jersey. I can't get behind you on this Veterans Day idea. I'm sorry. We can have the National Guard or some Canadian military come out to the arena and we can honor people, but I don't want our players to be wearing camouflage because they're not soldiers. And in some ways, they're, I don't even like the association. That's right. Stargate saying 2 words for you in regards to Derek Queen. Anthony Bennett. There you go. Our old Toronto guy, Anthony Bennett, #1 pick in the draft. Was a Raptor for a brief period of time also. Yeah, there you go. That's another one like Zion. Anthony Bennett. All the accolades and all the skill coming out of college. And, well, Anthony Bennett was a total bust. A complete bust. Andrea Bargnani was way better than Anthony Bennett. And they're going to say, and Bargnani was a bust? Well, Bargnani is a bust. Whew. Then Anthony Bennett is like the hugest bust in the world. Seriously, it's crazy. Kaloy saying Bennett is an anomaly level bust. How can a self-respecting scouting team identify that guy as the #1 pick? I don't know. I mean, it was the size thing. It was a size and potential thing. He really did. But this is the thing, and it goes back to what I was saying to Gerald, is like you can have all the skills, you can look talented, but if you don't have the heart and the drive to work hard, you are a bust. And that's really what it is with Bennett. I mean, we could get the stunted growth out. He's done one on him. I know he has. You can go look at Stunted Growth's YouTube channel and look up the Anthony Bennett. He'll tell you the 3 main reasons why Anthony Bennett was a huge, big, fat failure and a flop and a bust. And it probably would be the man didn't work hard at all. He didn't work hard at all. It's a really, really big part of it. Nako saying Zion would be great if he did take his career more seriously. I would also argue Joker wasn't in shape coming in. Fair concerns to have. I guess I'm just not as pessimistic. You know, Gerald, there's so many options in the draft. In some ways, we want to get information about all these players. positive and good. And in some ways, when the negative stuff comes, it's really easy to write people off because there's a lot of choice and there's a lot of different people to look at. So, yeah, make our decision easier, Derek Queen. Put your foot in your mouth. And you know what? It's not even just that. This is the big thing. Stargate and I keep bringing up the taxes comment. But the big thing that killed it for him with us is the very poor showing at the combine, that he really, really tanked himself. Because the sign isn't just that we're perceiving this in Raptors Nation as Raptors fans. It's just league wide, his stock dropped. He was going to be like a top 10 pick before the combine. But everybody saw how lazy he was at the combine. He had unimpressive stats. And he, like we said, he did that interview and his stock has dropped. And now he's being projected like 7, 8, 9 picks after where he was being drafted before the combine. So this is not just our perception here. This is a shared perception around the NBA that his stock has dropped, is what I'm saying right now. So it's not just us. Yeah, Zion would be great if he did take his career more seriously. I would say that even as good as Joker is, there are things he could probably do just slightly different where he would go to another huge level, Nikola, because there are things that he could do a little bit different where he could be even greater than he is already. And that's scary. But sometimes if you have such a supreme talent, you can go through your life like he does, drinking beer, not working out, and watching horse racing. Just imagine if he did work out. Just imagine if he didn't drink so much beer. What would Nikola Jokic be? That's what I'm saying. Potential is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Whoever the Raptors draft is probably the right choice. That's what I'm going to say. They very rarely miss. Malachi Flynn may be one of the biggest egregious misses. But other than that, they very rarely miss. They really do. Stargate saying at Kaloy, weird, eh? Dude can't even make Team Canada. Bennett, was always out of shape. He never really got in shape in the NBA correctly at all. He was fine to be out of shape in the college game and look real good in doing that. But he just didn't take his career seriously enough, like Zion. And he just was such a bust. Such a bad bust. I even remember when he came to the Raptors, and I was like, this is going to be fun. We've got a Toronto guy, and maybe he can finally wake up and start showing some of the promise that he showed as a number 1 pick in the draft. But no, he fumbled his chance with the Raptors too. And that's a sign that, yeah, you only get like 3 chances in the NBA. And well, he fucked up in Cleveland and he fucked up with us. And boom, he's not in the league. He's barely in the league for like 3 years, I think. He was like, this is crazy. You can get out of the league quick if you're not trying. And that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. If I skipped some comments, some of them were axed out and the thing was jumping around. Let's see. You're skipping a few of my comments. All right. I'll come back and see. I'll review my stream real quick and see where I'm missing stuff. I read all that. I'm doing an audit to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah. Smooth. I don't know why you're talking about Iran. That's the first thing I saw about Iran. And there's some comments that are X'd out by Seymour. But the first thing about the strikes in Iran, that's the first comment I saw about the strikes were to destabilize a trans-nuclear program. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's just out of the blue. Because there's no other comment from you before that. It's maybe that the comments aren't coming through. Let's see. There's a retracted message from you, Smooth. Yeah, I don't understand the Iran stuff. That's nothing I've been talking about. And then you have a comment about Iran there. Yeah, Reggie, I don't think your comments are coming through at all. I only see 2 comments from you before that. You're skipping my comments. And that's one where it's like the strikes were to destabilize trans-nuclear program, and then something about Iran. Those are the only 2 comments I see from you. Oh, and then the Edmonton stuff earlier. There were 2 comments there. But yeah, I'm not trying to skip your comments. I don't see them. Make sure you're actually sending them because I don't see them. They're not here. And maybe you're saying stuff that they don't like and they're Xing them out. I don't know. All right, let's keep going. Neil's saying every rookie is a gamble because it takes time to prove a rookie's character, and the organization and their development matters. Someone sometimes come into a bad situation. Sometimes the rookie's immature. Oh yeah, especially in the last decade of the NBA, where a lot of guys were rushing to get the NBA. They were way not ready mentally and physically often too. And this is totally true. This is totally true. Every rookie is a gamble, and they could be a sure thing like Cooper Flag, but God forbid some career-threatening injury happens to them and they don't get to do what they do. I mean, seriously, Len Bias, hello. There's a lot of things that can get in the way of what you think could happen. Jay Williams getting in a motorcycle wreck before he started his NBA career totally screwed up his career. And he was really going to be a high prospect out of Duke, Jay Williams. So it's like there's unforeseen things that can happen in all kinds of different ways. And you just kind of hope and pray that things will be all right. Kaloy saying Joker like skill without a good mental makeup won't make it in the NBA. Yeah, in some ways, he's a weird anomaly. Like, he's not a good example to gauge against on anything because he's such a weird anomaly. In fact, he's not a good role model for young players in the most part. Maybe in some ways on the court with some of his passing and the way he looks at the game, but not in the way he carries himself. You should not try and be like Nikola Jokic. He's not going to get you far in the NBA. He can do it himself because he's just a weird anomaly. But young players should not be trying to go on the Nikola Jokic workout. They should not be doing that. I'm sorry. That sounded crazy that I just said that. That's crazy. Yeah. Stargate saying Maxim and Fleming are very well-spoken young men and very confident. Blackhawk was the one who put me on to Maxim. I really like that kid, the Raptors, but I don't think he'll be around at 30th. Yeah, we pick at 39. And both those guys, I think they'll be long gone by then. And I think they're reaches for number 9. Like, I like both of them too. I mean, if Masai and Bobby switch their picks around and somehow land in a more comfortable spot to get either one of them, I'd be happy. But this is what the point is, that these guys are well-spoken young men. And in some ways, they've had some media training. In some ways, they've had some training to know what not to say and what to say. And I don't think Derek Queen's had that. And that's part of the difference. You know, you got to be a certain level of aware. And, you know, IQ does matter to be a Raptor. You got to have a certain level of IQ. We got IQ on our team, so you need IQ to be playing with IQ. That's right. Mo's saying news and notes. CJ Miles has his own YouTube series called The Game Loves Me. Cool. Cool. Of course, I was sad when his show with Amit Mann left Yahoo, one of the casualties of the stupid corporate decisions with Yahoo, losing Hustle Play with Chris Boucher, and the stuff that CJ Miles was doing at that time. CJ's such a great analyzer of the current game that I'm glad that he has a format to get his opinions out there. And also, he's a fantastic artist. Mace Fresco, really good music. Y'all should check out CJ Miles' music. He's very talented. He knows how to spit bars. So check that out. Smooth saying Derek Queen seems like Jarek Solinger. See, this is what I'm saying. You guys are throwing all these names like Zion, Anthony Bennett, Jared Sullinger. Yeah, Jared Sullinger was the best player in college at Ohio State before he came into the NBA. And he was a bust in some ways. In some ways, it was because he couldn't get his weight down. In some ways, it was because he was in between positions. And that's a problem with players too sometimes. And that's why sometimes I worry about a player like Rasheer Fleming, is because they're not necessarily exactly certain position, and they can fall through the cracks as being, well, this player is not actually this position or this position, and there's not really a place for them in the NBA. That happens. And I feel like that's partly what happened to Jared Sullinger. He wasn't truly a 4 and he wasn't truly a 5. And he was somewhere in between. And that didn't work. Kareem saying, I'm going to need Nick Clifford for our second pick if he's still around. I've heard that name before. It's not bad. Nako saying, work ethic is up to Bobby Masai in my eyes. They could have figured out everything you're saying about him. It's more about me not being put on him as opposed to needing to pick him. It'd be nice if Queen had come correct to the combine. It'd been nice if he had shown like really awesome combine measurements and stats and but he had lazy stats. And the stuff they're doing is like triple jump, like reach, all kinds of stuff. How fast do you run the 50, things like that. And that's where it didn't seem like he was putting in the right effort. His numbers look bad, honestly. And that's why his stock dropped. So in some ways, it's like this numbers he put up were underwhelming and they weren't exactly what they were expected to be. And that's part of the problem right there. Mo's giving me my cutoff. W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Limit in the comments. I appreciate you, Mo, helping me with producing. Neil saying trade our 39th pick for the Timberwolves 31st pick. I don't know. That's like we could just throw anything and pull it out of the air and just say, do this. But I'm only going by what we have concretely right now. If a trade's announced that we traded up from 39 to 31, then we readjust and figure it out from there. But it's not realistic to me until some movement has happened. And obviously, draft day may be where it happens in the middle of the draft. And we'll have to stay on our toes then. But for me to speculate us picking at every single spot in the draft, why put in that work and do that? We're picking at 9 and 39. And until there's a concrete trade where we are picking in a different spot, then I'll speculate for that spot. I don't like going overboard with this because there's crazy content out there on some Raptors channels where they're really like laying out really elaborate changes to our team that in some ways I'm like, why are you doing this? What a waste of time. We trade the 9th pick and this player to get the 4th pick. And then we get this player common. It's like, okay, there's a lot of presupposing and this and this and this. Come on, let's just deal in reality and what's right in front of us right now. And it could change like that in the middle of the draft. We say the Raptors have traded the 39th pick to the Dallas Mavericks for the 1st pick in the draft. And they've got Cooper Flag. Yay. Something goofy like that. I mean, Seymour's saying Zion is another Anthony Bennett. Bennett was thrown out because he was not good and Canadian. Zion is lucky he's American or he would have been gone. They put a lot of investment in him for marketing. They really, really wanted him to be really good. But in some ways, it's like you can't make the guy do the work. They've got to do the work. And that's the sign right there. This NBA is changing and evolving. It's getting taller with Chet and Victor. And it's also getting to the point where you cannot be a lazy person anymore. And a lot of these players that came in just coasting on talent and not working hard, that's going to go out the window. They're going to want guys that are just a little bit less talented, but they show that they have the gumption to come in and put in the effort and work hard. Not just get the bag, get the millions, and then sit on it for the rest of their career. No, a lot of that generation is going to go away with Kevin and LeBron. And every young player that's coming to the league to have an edge up, they're going to have to be DeRozan code. If they don't, well, they're going to find the door quickly. In some ways, Zion is one of those last kind of guys from the last generation that is a cautionary tale. And every single young player coming in, you know what? You're going to have to not just rely on talent. You're going to have to be a hardworking player that's working hard all the time too, because this league is just that competitive at this point. And there's so many great players coming from all around the world. To distinguish yourself, you can't just be coasting on your talent anymore. You better work hard too. You better work hard too. That's right. That's right. Let's go. Let's see. Kareem saying, laugh out loud. Blackhawk, while we are at it, let's trade that Timberwolves 31st pick for whoever has a 15. You see, he's kind of joking about what I just said. Trevor, I'll do the classic card very soon. Wayne saying, you are correct about the potential of the next NBA champion. The Pacers realistically didn't have the advantage before, but have proven that coaching and having a few veterans makes a difference in the final. It's always been that case. That's why I say it's like the stair steps. You know, we're lucky with our championship in 2019. We kind of, even though the Warriors were a dynasty and they obviously had a lot of experience getting the championship and they did have injuries, we did have key players that had been there and done that. And Kawhi is very much one of those key players. Danny Green, that didn't hurt. And, you know, all of the work that Serge and Mark did in the Western Conference in the playoffs with different teams, that mattered too. The failings of the Grizzlies with Marc Gasol was all added to the escalator coming up for the Raptors. So we got to look at that, along with Kyle and DeMar's troubles with LeBronto in the years before on the franchise team. You know, we were going up the escalator with DeMar and Kyle and Jonas in the years before and hitting our head on LeBron every time. But that was us getting up the escalator. And then we were at a pretty high step on the escalator when we did win against Golden State. So that's what you got to look at. Indiana's been really fighting to get up that escalator on the higher steps in the last couple of years. We've seen them do very well in the NBA Cup. We've seen them get to the Eastern Conference Finals last year also. And that's kind of what I'm saying. The Thunder had never really broken through this far, and they're in uncharted territory. Even if they're so great in the regular season, this experience of knowing the level of play that the finals are is important. And Siakam understands it, and Carlisle understands it better than anybody involved in this series right now. And that's why, in some ways, the Pacers have a real chance to win this championship. Right there. Yeah. Stargate saying, remember, a lot of basketball players played multiple sports in high school, especially football, and we're good at it too. I think James Harden played football in high school. Well, there was that clip of DeMar DeRozan throwing the football, and man, he was throwing like spirals through tires like 60 yards down the field. Like he had an arm like he's a quarterback. And this is totally true. I mean, there's a lot of three sports stars, that do all the sports. A great example of a basketball player that did a lot of sports is Deion Sanders, guys. He played basketball for the Florida State Seminoles at Florida State when he was there. He was not only a baseball player, he wasn't only obviously a crazy good football player as a cornerback and secondary for Florida State. He was also a track and field star, and he did play for the basketball team at Florida State too. So he was like a 4-star athlete, Deion Sanders. Now, he did choose to play more baseball and football in his professional career, but he did have some basketball chops too. Let's just put it that way. This is an interesting thing. Athletes are athletes, and we'll have to see what happens with this pros versus Joes fanatics competition. We'll have to see, man. Yeah, Kareem saying, wasn't Malika Andrews who accused Jalen Rose for touching her inappropriately when all he did was put his arms around her? I don't know. I didn't hear that story. If there's any kind of inside ESPN controversies, like I said, I pay as little attention to that stuff as I can, that channel as I can. I only try and check in on what they're saying about the Raptors or if they're ignoring us like they were yesterday. Yeah. Let's see. Nako saying Anthony Bennett only played on the NBA for like 4 seasons. Zion's better than that. Well, yeah, but really, is he? I mean, seriously, what has he contributed? What has he done? Has he been there for him? Are they similar? They're similar. Maybe Zion's more talented, more highly touted, but in some ways they were drafted right around the same place. And honestly, I think that in some ways Zion's been given a lot more chances because of partly what they just said, that he's American. Then in Bennett, they had no reason to keep him around and prop him up and keep giving him chances. Zion Williamson, they're trying to make him into a marketable star, and they have invested time and energy to try and make him something, and he's failed for them. And in some ways, they're still trying to recoup some of that energy and investment into him. And that may be part of it right there. They didn't put anything behind Anthony Bennett is trying to make him a face of the league. So they have no problem saying bye-bye to him. Wayne saying camouflage worn outside the Army is totally classless. Hate me if you want. I'm not disagreeing with him. Now, I can understand if you're a hunter and you want to be camouflaged because you're out hunting, that it makes sense for practicality in that way. But I get what he's saying. I think that in some ways, and this is one of the funny things about MAGA and Donald Trump world, is that they misappropriate using the American flag in disrespectful ways all the time. They put it on their shorts. They put it on clothing. Real patriots and veterans of wars for the United States, they do not like the flag being misrepresented as an article of clothing that you wear. Like to some of them, you see those stars and stripes near somebody's crotch. It's highly offensive. And well, that's something right there going along the lines of what Wayne's saying here. It's like if you're wearing camouflage, if you're not out in the woods trying to do something out there, which I don't agree with hunting, first of all, or if you're not military, you shouldn't be wearing camouflage. I mean, if you need to because you're in a resistance army fighting against problems and you need safety, sure. But Raptors players on the court, that's not useful because there's no bushes and you can't hide. It's like, why would they wear it, Kareem saying a football player will be the one who wins that TV show, but that's me being biased. Yeah, a former running back, Kareem Thomas, is going to say that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. It'd be really funny if James Harden won the whole thing, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of cool, actually. You win $1 million because that's what it is. They're going to give $1 million to the biggest winner, and they can give some money to the best fan. They're hoping a fan might win it. Seriously. Because they really are all equally competing. There's no prop ups. It's going to be exactly the same, pros versus Joes. And the number one person, whoever it is, whether it's a pro or a Joe, will win $1 million. And the second place is like a Lamborghini or something like that. You get a car for second place. And I think the highest ranking Joe, the regular person, will get $300,000 no matter what. I think that's what the prizes were. Neil saying, you never know, Kareem. Thunder could be persuaded out of 15 for a future pick. Once again, that's all fan fiction. And until it's actually a real deal reality, I'm not going to worry about it. Melvin is here. Good to see Milbester. Zion doesn't have the body for the NBA. He has an NFL body. There you go. Maybe Zion Williamson will participate in the pros versus Joes, and something will be unlocked, and he will show up in the football field for the NFL sometimes. Couch potato body. Too much 7-Eleven runs and wrappers in his house, apparently. That's what I heard. That's what that porn star said. His house is junky. And he's got all these like potato chip bags, empty potato chip bags all over the floor at his house because he ain't eating right there, man. That's right. His career's on a treadmill. He better run and get on there himself. It was going nowhere. That's right. You better get on the treadmill. Your career's on a treadmill, Zion. You better get on a treadmill. That's what we're saying, man. Kareem saying, stop hating on Malachi Jeffrey Jordan. His case was bad timing with COVID, and Nurse has never developed a player as a head coach. Dropping 50 is no small feat. I don't mind his selfish play. Just don't put it on my team. I don't mind his amazing ability to play in pro-am games and score like 80 points. But in some ways, that man was never an NBA player because he didn't understand what the role of a point guard is. And, well, he never was a point guard. He was a glorified shooting guard in a point guard's body. And I just can't respect that. I'm sorry. I will put him down. I'm sorry. He wasted our time for a few years. And I'm still a major hater of Flynn. Flynn can be in Turkey. That's where he belongs. But I have a surprising feeling that he might go over to Turkey, play his selfish ways, and in some ways find out he needs to be more giving the ball to other people in different ways than he has in his career so far. Because, man, he bothers me so much, man. Because if you're a point guard, you're supposed to make your teammates better. He has never done that his whole entire career. Wherever he's gone, he has failed at the assignment. And that's, you make your teammates better if you're a point guard. Kyle Lowry got the assignment. Fred VanVleet got the assignment. Jamal Shedd's already got the assignment. He's only been a Raptor for 1 year. He got it right away. He showed up ready with the assignment known. You make your teammates better if you're the point guard. Malachi Flynn never got that through his idiotic, low IQ brain. That you're a point guard, you're supposed to make your teammates better. He never did that. He barely even made himself better. Honestly, that's the sad thing. What a waste of time. I will hate on him. I'm sorry. I deserve the right to. I don't care if it's the timing, COVID, all that bullshit. You can make excuses. He could have figured it out himself. He had Fred and Kyle there to mentor him, and it didn't even help him. He didn't even listen to them. What a knucklehead. That's right. Stargate saying, I believe there is going to be a lot of shuffling in this draft date. I think there might be too. We'll have to see. We might have to see. I mean, especially with number 1 speculated that it could get traded. It could start right at the top. And 2 and 3 are already speculating about trying to move Philadelphia and San Antonio. That's right. Going to be very interesting. Stargate saying Fears is another one who is well spoken. Jeremiah Fears. Maybe he'll be the one we look at next week. I don't know. I want to get kind of closer to what is realistic for 9. Maybe we'll do Carter Bryant. Maybe we will do Joan Berenguer, something like that. We'll have to see. Next Thursday, we'll do another Thursday Think Tank, the last one before the draft, so that we can talk about what they might do on the 2 days of the draft the week after. That's right. Blackhawks saying Kai Jones, John Wall, Bradley Beal. This is an interesting list. Kai Jones, I would love for him to come back and be something in his career. He's had a mental breakdown. In some ways, the Clippers gave him another chance last year. And, well, I'm rooting for him. Honestly, I feel like he's got a good talent. And even though he's kind of went off the rocker for a little bit there, I want him to have a bounce back story. Those other guys are washed and gone. They're washed, man. Bradley Beal, just retire, man. Seriously, just retire. John Wall, you're a nice guy. I think you're a good dude. But, man, in some ways, your career wasn't what it's supposed to be. Seriously, your career wasn't what it's supposed to be. Mel Bester saying, Lex, did you hear that one Canadian was on the Air India flight crashed yesterday? An Indian guy in England was waiting for his 2 older brothers on the flight, and one of them survived. Man, I don't really want to talk about this too much. It's a tragedy. It's sad. And I was telling people yesterday that I need this to be like a sunshine moment. The stream is kind of like, let's talk basketball and kind of escape all the world's problems. But yeah, it's sad. I don't think that's the only Canadian that was on that flight, Milbester, because there's a Dennis from Etobicoke that was also being mourned right now. Good morning, everyone. But yeah, Lex, I totally feel for that guy losing his brother. And his other brother survived the crash from emergency exit. My uncle survived missing AA American Airlines 587 to Dominican Republic in 2001. He was supposed to take a flight and he didn't get on it. Man, crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Stargate saying, Fears reminds me of that kid next door from back in the day who comes over and knocks at your door and asks your parents for you to come out and play ball. I like that description. That's funny. I know that kid you're talking about. I really do. No, Bester, man, I don't want to get into much about this flight. I'm going to skip all of your comments that have to do with the air crash that happened this week, man. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to treat it, but you're really monopolizing with so many comments in a row. And I really don't want you to steer my stream into being all about this Air India crash. I really don't. I'll read one more because there's a response to it, but I see that you have like 4 comments in a row right here that are basically probably saying a lot of the same stuff. I had a flashback PTSD episode last year from the American Airlines 587 crash and what my life would have been if my uncle went on that flight. I follow plane crashes ever since and relate to families. Man, well, that's really kind of you, and you're a sympathetic person. And I appreciate that about you, man. But in some ways, we want to keep it on basketball today, man. And Seymour's got your support. You got support from Seymour. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, I don't even want to get into this. I don't know the details about the crash too much, but I'm glad your uncle's okay. And prayers to all the people suffering or sadness from the Air India crash this week. That is absolutely tragic and sad. And I hate it. I hate it so much, man. I hate it. Nako loves Fears, though. He loves Jeremiah Fears. I've very surface level looked at Jeremiah because in some ways I don't really see him as what our needs are. And I don't really see him as viable at our draft spots either. That he'd be a reach at 9 and he's not going to be available at 39. So I haven't really looked at him very seriously or that closely. Let's see. Kaloy saying Malachi Jeffrey Jordan. What that got me laughing here. All right, you give him? I'm gonna give him dunk. Who did that? That was Kareem, right? That was Kareem who said Malachi Jeffrey Jordan. Yeah, I should have known it was the dunk champ. Yeah, that is pretty funny. And maybe it kind of goes to with maybe what his father Eric thinks. King keeps telling me he's talking to Eric Flynn all the time. I don't understand that. Like, is it Iceman like Gervin? Because we always thought that Eric Flynn was Iceman like Gervin, the very notorious Raptor handle in Raptors Nation. That's who we thought was Eric Flynn because there would be certain things he'd say. There was like, "Are you Eric Flynn?" I don't know, King. You got to tell me. He's saying he's talking to Eric Flynn all the time. I don't know why. Smooth saying Malachi Flynn is trash, man. You know, he's cool like for accomplishments. I'm glad he got a 50 ball for the Pistons. That's fantastic. He's done amazing things in his NBA career to an extent, but yeah, it is what it is, man. Pop couldn't save Malachi. No one can even, not even his dad. Well, sadly, in some ways, Malachi showed up with the Spurs after Pop had his stroke. So I don't know how much Pop was actually involved in trying to help Malachi Flynn because he was probably more concerned about his medical condition than anything like that. Kaloy saying Kai Jones looked good this season. Yeah, if he just keeps his head on straight, he should still be able to have an NBA career. The mental breakdown in Charlotte, well, that makes sense. Anybody could mentally break down in Charlotte. I'll go bag on the Hornets just for a second there. Kareem saying, actually, Seymour, Malachi Jeffrey Jordan would have saved their franchise before Victor. Yes, I'm trolling. I think. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Malika did Jalen Rose dirty. Okay, that's true. Along the lines of Megan and Tori. Okay, all right. Smooth saying his basketball game is trash, not him. Yeah, Malachi, in some ways, I want to like him. He had that one really dumb comment on Women's Day. Oh my gosh, really dumb. He said something like, women are great because they're here to make us babies or something like that. Boy, did the Raptors and men get in trouble for that one, man. Oh, it was like Women's Day. And like Malachi's film saying, yeah, women are great because they give men babies. I mean, that's like, that kind of tells you he's a dumbass, right? Like, read the room, man. That's not what you're supposed to say, bro. Kareem saying craziest thing is that there was a survivor on that flight. Bless his soul. Yeah, that's crazy. Mel Bester, all respect, man. In some ways, it's like I'm having real issues this week personally with depression and a lot of sad events happening, whether they're in the news or personally in my life. And I'm getting too bogged down with things right now. And I'm kind of trying to keep things light for myself in certain ways just to try and continue. So, in some ways, that's part of why I'm like, I don't want to go deep on the Air India crash, guys. I want to treat it with respect and condolences and sympathies. I'm not trying to ignore it. It's just that in some ways, this is a basketball stream, and I don't want to talk baseball. I don't want to talk air crashes. That's just how it is, Milbester. All due respect to you. All right, let's do the classic card real quick. All right, we got about 7 minutes before 2 hours. Let's see where I don't want to do another team one. Those ones take too long. All right, here we go. This is fun. We got a coach's card today, guys. Let's see who knows their coaches in NBA history. Coach's card. For, first and last name, please, on the coach. and you will get the classic card of the day. It's original Skybox, 1990, first series Skybox. Who is that coach? If you give me the first and last name, you get the classic cards points. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Uh, Bob Hill? No. Cotton Fitzsimmons. That's right. Smooth's got it. Cotton Fitzsimmons. What a name, man. Cotton Fitzsimmons. See what the quote says. The Phoenix Suns are for real, and we plan to stay around for quite some time as a force in the Western Conference. If we can improve and become more consistent in some areas, the Suns might be able to take that extra step and play in the NBA Finals in 1991. I believe they did. Charles Barkley, Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, Paul Westphal was the coach at that time. And they played against the Bulls in the finals, and they lost. And the Suns have still never, ever won the championship since then. That's right. Cotton Fitzsimmons. That's right. Cotton Fitzsimmons. That's right. Damn, ain't that a Chicago coach in the 80s? Great coach. No, this guy was only a coach for he coached for the Suns most prominently. I don't remember him coaching for much other people. All right, let's see. Slug Deezy's got an interesting comment here. He's saying Malachi is a millionaire and one of the best basketball players in the world. To hate on a professional player is silly. Well, it's not when he wasted our franchise's time. I don't hate on players that are Raptors unless I really have a good reason. I'm more likely to stand up for them and love them. Sure, a grudge with Vince Carter for 20 years. That makes sense, right, guys? Doesn't that make sense? Why would I have a grudge against Vince Carter with the way that thing happened? Chris Bosh turning his back on our team. Goran Dragic. That's a special case as a Raptor with Goran Dragic. But Malachi has his own story. And it really is about spinning wheels and not getting us anywhere with the Raptors. In some ways, it pisses me the hell off. So you can say me being hating on him is silly. No, I hate on him because he wasted our team's time for 4 years. And I can't forgive him for that. In some ways, I think that, you guys wanted Siakam to stay on our team so bad. Well, who could have helped Siakam stay on our team was Malachi. Malachi, I'm going to blame him for why that core got blown up. That Fred and Pascal and OG could have still been on the Raptors, and we would have been more successful in that transitory period between Kawhi and Scotty Barnes. If Malachi Flynn had stepped up and actually played backup point guard correctly, Siakam might still be on our team right now. I would say that. I can speculate that and directly correlate how that could be. Because look, Fred stepped up as the backup point guard for Kyle, and we got a championship. Malachi's turn to step up as the backup point guard for the Raptors, he failed miserably, and he didn't give the support off the bench. And we can blame Nick, sure, to an extent, for not going in development and being too doting on but Malachi didn't play to a certain level to trust him. So he would put him out there. So he stymied our development along with Nick Nurse because he didn't play backup point guard. He played glorified pro-am shooting guard in a point guard's body. And I will tell you, there's a direct correlation with saying goodbye to Siakam, Anunoby, and Van Vliet because Flynn failed, is what I'm going to say right now. If he had come through and done what Bobby and Messiah drafted him to do, we might have not busted up that core, and we might have been still riding with it right now. So that's why right there, Slug DZ. I don't hate him for being a millionaire or being famous or being one of the best players in the league. And I'll admit he's one of the best players in the world. I'll admit he's one of the top 500 basketball players on this planet right now, but he's not one of the top 300. He'd be in the NBA if he was. Yeah. So I'm going to say that. I'll just say that I have a right to hate on him because he wasted all of our time, and people that are pissed off that Siakam's not on our team, you can blame Malachi. Honestly, I can directly correlate that. Seriously. Yeah. Let's keep going. Yeah. Great coach. Isaac's saying, nice. All the best, Kareem Jeffrey Jordan. Do you call him Kareem Jeffrey Jordan? Why is everybody Jeffrey Jordan now? We're all MJ? All right. I like that. That's cool. All right, Isaac coming in for a cameo. Dropping a little benevolence just for a second. Isaac Campbell's going to get a dunk. He's at 18. Isaac Jeffrey Jordan Campbell. That's right. Everybody's a Jeffrey Jordan today. We're all Jeffrey Jordans at this point. That's right. Stargate saying, I hate Goran. Ever since he almost tension spit on DeMar that time. Fuck that guy. Yeah. And this is part of the reason why we hated Kelly too. Like, listen, and Kelly said this too after he left Toronto. When he got traded to New Orleans, he wrote his letter and saying, I want to appreciate all of my fans who have been there with me from the start. That's not me, Kelly. because I was not a fan of you. You were in that category with Goran Dragic, the one Canadian that I didn't like because you were goonish towards the Raptors in playoff series with the Miami Heat. Yeah. Yeah. Kelly was on that list. And in some ways, he knows that. He knows that. He started his career as a Celtic. Ugh, gross. Then he went to Miami and he did dirty work with Goran Dragic against Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. So, there's a little bit of that energy. I was so happy Kelly came and played for us. And in some ways, the bad taste with him is out of my mouth. But let's not get it twisted. Kelly knows he has true fans that really loved him the whole time. But a lot of Raptors fans did not, because he was like Goran. He was a villain and he was dirty as hell. And some of the playoff series we had with them in the mid 2010s. Yeah, we don't forget that. But Goran, especially, man, screw that guy, man. Kelly, I'm cool with him. He's a Raptor now. And, we can let bygones be bygones. And I'm only going to remember him as the Raptors years. But there was a period of time where Kelly was on a hated list with Goran Dragic in my book. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Mel Muster saying, also, Lex, I saw the video of Adam Silver with Dan Patrick's show on NBA and Michael Jordan going to NBC. Adam said that MJ is excited for it, and it's good signs of the league to come. That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. I really hope Michael Jordan is involved with his voice and his insight and his experience. He's going to bring a prestige, and he's going to bring a certain level of quality that's been lacking in the NBA since he left, honestly. So it'll be awesome to have Jordan come back and embrace. And honestly, I'm going to expect big things for the NBA going forward, starting next year. The new television deals, the new different things, along with NBC coming back. Woo! It's going to be interesting, guys. The NBA is going to be more popular, and it's going to get some attention back that it's lost over the last few years. Now, if you can cut down on ESPN's coverage, Adam Silver, and stop negging your own product with your talking heads and people that cover it, you get some built up again, like David Stern did in the 80s. You just got to stop negging your own product, stop negging your own players and teams and talking like they're lesser. That's the biggest thing that you've done to mess up your sport, is that y'all taught the fans to disrespect it because you put idiots on TV like Stephen A. Smith that disrespect it for pay. So you need to stop that energy. You need to start coming at the whole league with love, players and teams. And none of this haves and have-nots. You teach fans to think that, oh, these teams aren't worth respect because they're not teams like the Lakers and the Celtics. Well, you are the one who are messing up your own product with that kind of business plan, is what I'm saying right there. Yeah, that's what I say right there. Let's see. Milbester saying Adam was just showing off the business card of NBA to Dan. It was just funny. Okay, I like Dan Patrick. He's one of the old ESPN guys I've always thought was a very solid journalist. And he did his job very, very well. Dan Patrick's a good guy. Slug Deezy saying, I agree. He sucked as a Raptor and had a substandard NBA career, but it is still very accomplished in the scheme of things. I won't disagree with that. But once again, we're very Raptor-centric. You know this, Slug Deezy. And this is why I care about this for that. In some ways, I hate it. Masai counted him as one of his failures. That Koloko, Bruno, and Malachi were his three biggest mistakes in drafting. And what he did. I don't know how he could seen what happened to Koloko. He can't get mad about that. The thing with Bruno, though, that's more about not having the facilities and the team not being ready for him. If Bruno Caboclo had came to this team, Caboclo or whatever his last name is, Mo always makes fun of me. If he had came to this team now, he would have been handled perfectly fine. It's just that we didn't have G League at that time. We didn't have OVO Center. And, well, we got those things because of Bruno. So that was all a learning experience right there. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, Lex is right. Flynn was a waste of time, man. All those resources devoted to him, minutes doled out, he could not do a damn thing with it. It's just there was no elevation to his game. And that's the scary thing, is like he wasn't progressing. He wasn't coming up. He wasn't learning is what the problem was. I was like, this dude's not learning. Like they say he's like so intense. He's learning. I think it's just because he's not that smart. Like he doesn't have a very smart brain. I think he operates on a very low intellectual level. And that's why guys like Lowry, Van Vliet, Shed, these guys are really smart guys. They're operating on a very high IQ level. And I feel like in some ways, Bobby Webster missed the IQ test with Malachi Flynn. And once again, I'll dump on San Diego State. I will. I've seen three very dumb people on the Raptors from San Diego State. And that includes our finals MVP that won a championship for the Raptors. That dude's not very smart, honestly. I'm going to say this right now. Kawhi Leonard is not a very intelligent person. Obviously, he should have stayed in Toronto. And that's why I say it. It's not anything other than that he is dumb enough to leave a good thing in Toronto. That's why he's stupid. Jalen McDaniels, yeah, something wrong there too, man. Seriously, something's wrong there with that body and all those skills. Why the hell isn't he a better player like his brother, Jaden? What's going on there, man? What's going on there? That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying if he was an NBA player, he'd probably still be in the league. He isn't. Probably won't see him again. Yeah, he's going to the next part. He got so many chances, and now he's going to Turkey. And well, maybe he'll be a teammate with Ken Birch again. Stargate saying being goonish is one thing, Lex, but when you want to spit in someone, that is totally different level. Goran is a vile human being. Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. It's honestly, once again, it's kind of like the DeMarcus Cousins things. It's somebody losing their temper, so they're doing something that's dehumanizing and totally disgusting towards somebody else. And that's what that is. You lost your temper. You lost the battle when you lost your temper. DeMarcus Cousins and Goran Dragic. You lost the battle. That's right. Kaloy saying, I don't get why ESPN gets the finals. Is it like a bidding process? Yeah. Yeah, it is that. It's ABC buying it, Disney buying it, and saying we're going to put the finals on. Well, I think next year NBC is doing the finals. I hope. I don't know. But yeah, there's a bidding process for this stuff. I mean, if we had our way, TNT would do it, obviously, in their last year. It would be so much better if TNT was covering the finals right now. Honestly, ESPN has been a blight on the NBA. Really, really horrible, horrible coverage. They've ruined that product, run it to the ground. If Adam Silver could detach the NBA from ESPN more and more, I would do that. Seriously, you need to get your league away from ESPN, Disney, ABC, because they have been horrible for your product. They have brought down the value of the league overall. ESPN. I'm gonna say that over and over again. They built up the product in TNT and NBC throughout the 90s into the 2000s. When Vince Carter had his NBA on NBC moment against Phoenix, scoring 50, the league was strong with the way it was presented. And you can think about that moment. Like, think about the Raptors in the early 2000s and the way the NBA was. The NBA on NBC. Vince Carter is playing against Michael Jordan and the Bulls today. Or like the Wizards, that stuff was exciting. At some point, NBC went away. TNT got less in the focal point, and ESPN jumped in the spotlight and ruined everything. Absolutely ruined thing. And they're bad on either ABC or ESPN. It's the same company. If they show it on ABC on the network, the coverage is just as shitty as it is on ESPN, is what I'm saying. People like Mike Tirico, he's a great announcer. Mike Breen, these guys are great announcers, but the people that are coming around them like Bob Myers, Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, people like that, they're jabronis. Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, bullshit like that. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Let's see. You'll never forget that he spit. Yeah. Well, Goran's retired and he's a piece of crap. Milbester saying, Kaloy, it's the NBA TV deal. ABC has had the rights to the air games since 2002. NBC had it from yeah, that's when it all went downhill. Basically, the NBA started going downhill in 2002 when ESPN took over for NBC. That's it right there. That's right. The TV deal was just last year, and ABC renewed it. They have the rights to the finals since 2002. That's horrible. They shouldn't have them. The new TV deal, NBC will have the All-Star game because TNT is gone in the playoffs and the conference finals. Yeah, I wish NBC would just cover the whole damn thing, and ABC would just step aside, get the fuck out. Seriously, the CBS was really good in the 80s. CBS did good with the NBA in the 80s. TNT and the NBC after that. ABC has been horrible, absolutely horrible. ABC is actually the worst of the three main networks down south. CBS is probably the best. NBC is probably second. ABC is the worst. They've always been the worst broadcasting company down in the States. Seriously, to me, I'd say that Fox is better than ABC. Seriously, I'd say Fox overall as a network's better. Yeah, ABC is garbage, man. It always has been. Stargate saying, just as long as Richard Jefferson's not anywhere near a commentary booth, I'm good. Yeah, he's annoying, man. He's really annoying. He's totally a Raptors hater. I was talking trash about Richard Jefferson and Scotty's Twitch, and he's defended him. He's like, Raptors freak, don't diss Richard Jefferson. He's my guy, man. Because they had done a commercial together on ESPN. And I was like, yeah, but he's a Raptor hater, Scott. I don't like him. And I used to call him Dick Jefferson, like, because he's a dick. I say Dick Jefferson. He even looks like a dick. It's like his head. And, it's just like, I don't like Richard Jefferson because he was along with Vince Carter when he turncoated and went to New Jersey Nets. And he was also on Cleveland Cavaliers teams that were bad for us. So fuck Richard Jefferson. He's a Raptors hater. He slights us on the down low in different ways wherever he goes. So yeah, I don't like that guy. I don't like him at all. I really don't. Milvester saying the next TV deal is 10 years from now. Maybe by then ABC loses NBA coverage because they were close to not renewing. They did in the end. Just glad NBC is back. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, it's too bad ABC didn't get cut out. Seriously, I'd really like that. Adam Silver, you should really seriously consider trying to get away from ESPN and ABC. Seriously, they have made y'all lose money. I'm going to say that right now. The state of the league is partly because of them. I would blame them and LeBron and KD. Seriously. I would blame them. LeBron has been great for the league in some ways, but really bad for the league also in certain ways. Yeah, hopefully NBC will get it over time. Kareem saying Jefferson is shit as a broadcaster. I don't like him. There were a couple of things he said in the last game. I was like, I agree with Jefferson on that. But overall, man, he annoys the hell out of me, man. He really does. And like, it is what it is. Let's see. Stargate saying Scotty doesn't know the history. We got to school him. Well, in some ways, Scotty's a lover. He doesn't want to hate anybody, and he stands up for all kinds of people. Like he'd stand up against us for Goran Dragic too. Like even though, like you said, he doesn't know the history exactly. Maybe if he saw what Goran did to the Raptors in the past, he'd be like, "Oh, now I understand why the Raptors fans hate this guy and didn't want him to ever come and wear our jersey." Yeah, yeah. Some ways, Scotty does need some history lessons sometimes, but he catches up and he does find out the stuff too. But in some ways, he doesn't care about that. In some ways, he knows Goran from being a teammate of his when he was a rookie. And in some ways, he's somebody special to him because he's around his rookie year. So it's goofy. I know it's goofy. All right, let me check on my tabs real quick and see if there's stuff I should talk about. There are a couple of WNBA games tonight. Chicago Sky at Atlanta Dream. Jenna Renault is the crew chief with Gina Cross and Jason Alabanza. Dallas Wings are at Las Vegas Aces. Ashley Gloss is the crew chief with Catherine Chang and Sarah Williams. Get your fantasy team set up. So yeah, 6 years ago, the Raptors won the championship with Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol. And we had heroes in that playoff series like Pascal. And I want to tell you all about Straight Goods on Canadian Goods, Heroes Certified Burgers. That's right. Heroes Certified Burgers, a Canadian restaurant chain that sells hamburgers and other quick service restaurant fare. It's based in Toronto, founded in 2004. And they've got their first store opened up in Buffalo in 2015, but they closed that one. So I don't know if they're down in the States anymore. But yeah, Heroes Certified Burgers, guys, is a Canadian company. And you can support Canada and Canadian economy by eating at Hero Certified Burgers. We're talking about Heroes on the 6th anniversary of the Raptors championship. That's why we're talking about that. That's right. Brian's here. Good to see King. What's up, Freak Nation? Happy Raptors championship anniversary. That's why I'm talking about Hero Certified Burgers. So you go on and get a Canadian burger from them. That's right. Let's see. We did the Instagram stories. Let's see what Raptors Reddit's saying. They were celebrating this day 6 years ago, and the Raptors beat the Warriors 114-110 in Game 6 of the NBA Finals to win the Raptors' first ever NBA championship. The second one will be coming. I'm telling you, the second one will be coming. Pascal Siakam was interviewed by Samson Folk at the finals, and he caught up with him, and they were talking about the Pacers' work ethic. Very, very cool that Samson is in the media scrum down there and getting to talk to Siakam. I'm sure that Siakam likes Samson Folk, one of the better, more knowledgeable media people in the NBA that actually concentrates on the X's and O's and not necessarily all the bullshit otherwise. That's right. So good stuff, man. Pascal has surpassed Vince Carter for the all-time playoff scoring, now ranked 110. So Pascal has more playoff points than Vince Carter. He just passed George Gervin, Tayshaun Prince, and George Hill. That's crazy. He's number 110 for most points scored in the NBA's history, guys. That's amazing right there. Yeah, they've got Malachi going to Turkey here. I don't want to talk about him anymore. There's some dumb report that Masai and the Raptors are doing their due diligence on Kevin Durant. The due diligence is to say no. That's the due diligence. I don't understand why people think that's happening, honestly. Anyway, Raptors Reddit, y'all are mostly okay. Let's see. Birthdays for today. First of all, happy birthday to former player Linton Johnson. He's turning 45 today. Happy 45th birthday. Happy birthday to Steve Novak. Steve Novak is turning 42 today, guys. Happy 42nd birthday to former sharpshooter Steve Novak, who was famously traded for Andrea Bargnani from the Knicks to Toronto. when we traded Bargnani to the Knicks. And finally, a very happy 45th birthday to former dunk participant and somebody we talked about on the channel recently, Jamario Moon. Jamario Moon's birthday is today also, guys. So happy birthday to Jamario Moon. How about that, y'all? Jamario. Y'all remember Jamario? Jamario. That's right. All right. I think that's about it, guys. We got to the end. Oh, yeah. I got to fill this in. The classic card was Cotton Fitzsimmons. And I believe Smooth got it. Smooth got it today. No. Let me put this in real quick. Smooth Brown Man got the classic card. Another 100 points for him on the classic card. All right, tomorrow, guys, we have a special Saturday Share the Love Club for RJ's birthday. It's RJ Barrett's birthday tomorrow, guys. So we're going to do it, Share the Love, especially for RJ, the birthday boy, tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. I hope you'll join me as we show appreciation and respect for Rowan Barrett Jr., stalwart, a player, a future all-star for the Raptors, a very important player for Team Canada. Somebody that everybody should have the utmost respect for him and stop putting him in trade rumors and trade machine deals. Raptors Nation, you idiots. So if you guys love Star J Barrett like I do, well, tomorrow's our day to shower him with appreciation and nice comments. So please join me tomorrow as we celebrate RJ's birthday on the channel with RJ Barrett's Share the Love Club, guys. That's what we got tomorrow. That's right, man. That's right. Stargate saying, Lex, keep up the good work, bro. And you better believe the Raptors front office are very much privy to your channel and they know what we say here. Well, I hope they do, because in some ways, this is free, unsolicited information from people that have their hearts in the right place and really do truly want the same things that they want. And listen, I don't mind. In some ways, this is not done for compensation. This is done out of pure joy and love in my heart for the Toronto Raptors. In some ways, it's part of what my purpose is in this world. I really do truly believe this at this point. And I know that Masai values honesty and authenticity and being real. Well, we're very real here. And I'm more than happy to give insight and feedback for our franchise in whatever way that's helpful for them. And I know that you guys are a big part of it. Once again, this is a two-way street, the chat and me. And we're heard. And that's one of the great things about, hopefully we can help them in certain ways. In certain ways we can. I hope we do. Milbester saying, even Adam Silver said he was surprised Jordan took the NBC role. What's better, Stern and Jordan or Silver and Jordan? I don't know. We'll have to see what Silver and Jordan is going to be. Stern and Jordan is really top notch, man. I'm telling you, those two guys took the NBA to levels that never seen. And in some ways, they need to do that again. You know, the NBA was like Hulkamania in the 80s. It got really big for a while in the 90s with Michael Jordan and the presence of it. It was really, really kind of like threatening other major sports for being the top sport in the world. In some ways, they've lost some ground on that. In some ways, it's subterfuge in the other sports saying, yeah, basketball sucks. Football people, baseball people saying it. And, well, in some ways, if Michael Jordan's returning, and Adam Silver's smart and he cuts out more of ESPN and ABC's coverage, they may be able to get back to the golden era of Stern and Jordan and the way the product was presented and the esteem and respect and the quality that it had. They've ruined their product over the years. And well, there's some damage control and fixing they could do. And hopefully it'll help the league in the years to come. I think NBC coming back and Jordan coming back are huge to help with this. Huge to help with this. Milbester saying, I love Novak and those threes on the Knicks. Yeah, see, we have a shared player in Steve Novak. We'll say happy birthday to him today. And Blackhawks saying, Gladiator Burgers beats Hero Burgers. Yum, yum. Are they Canadian, though? That's what I care about. Let's see. Mo, appreciate that. Another formative stream. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're trying to fill in the blanks. Monique is bringing me all kinds of information all the time, and it's so helpful. Listen, I don't get all of this on my own. It's a real team effort, and you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys, all of you that contribute to the YouTube, not the YouTube channel, the Discord server, and our Facebook group that Monique's running now. So yeah, I do come in and check on Facebook. I didn't totally leave Facebook, but I have not been using Facebook like I used to. I really am not. I'm really been running away from it. Let's see. Stargate saying Gladiator Burgers. He's saying yes. Okay. And Blackhawks saying Pascal acknowledged that Samson came from Toronto. Even Superfan is at the playoffs in Raptors gear right under the hoop. He was wearing Team Canada gear, not necessarily Raptors gear. But yeah, of course, Pascal's going to remember Samson. Samson interviewed him for many, many years here in Toronto. And he probably likes Samson out of all of them. He probably is like, if Grange is coming here, he'd be like, yeah. Yeah. But Samson Folk, he's okay. He's probably all right with him. Fiercely saying, I'm back from my meeting. Okay. And I'll see you later. I'm out. Stargate saying, I like Five Guys, but I know they're not Canadian. Yeah. Fuck Five Guys. Don't eat at Five Guys. And thank you, Isaac, for putting me on blast. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel if you want. You can get access to the 24/7 news coverage of the Raptors that Monique, Trevor, and Stargate, and Seymour, and so many other people are sharing stuff all the time. Fiercey. If you want that access to be in the know on Raptor stuff right by the minute, seriously, you can join our Discord and our Facebook group where we are sharing everything as it happens. Nothing gets by us. We are seeing everything here. And that's why Randolph comes in here. He says, most informative stream, because we are not glossing over anything. We're catching everything, and we will cover it here, whether it is something that's other mainstream media or other Raptors content makers would even look at. Nah, we'll do it here. This is your most comprehensive aggregation of Raptors information you can find online every single day, 9:30 in the morning. That's it right there. Neil saying, Masai would have me wash my mouth out with soap before taking advice from me. All right. I don't totally understand that, Neil, but it's all good. All right, y'all. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for Share the Love Club, RJ Barrett. Let's go, Raptors. Don't sell out Star J.